It's important. Be part of the community. Thanks for also watching on Warchant TV, the YouTube channel. Appreciate all of you that are doing just that. You, too, are supporting local, and for all of you who support the show in any way, and that includes downloading the pod later. I appreciate all of you sincerely. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. As I said on Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show, and here we are effing again. What a gigantic running kick to the balls as a Florida State fan that we experience this yet again. Not that we're owed anything by college football. You have to go and take that for yourself. But just a note of condolence to all of us who passionately support, love, root, give of our time and money to Florida State football. I'm there with you. I feel your pain. I'll tell you on Saturday, you know who else felt that pain and were vocal? That was the money people. That's where we start, because that's where it really begins. People will say, are you done with him, Jeff? Do you want him fired? I said last year when they went 2-10 that in any other era of college football, he would have been fired by going 2-10, and he would have deserved to have been fired going 2-10 at Florida State. But it is a different era. That contract, unfortunately, was extended and raised. And it was and is the era where you can flip a roster and see if you get better returns. And at times, certainly it's possible. Doesn't appear to be possible currently, as once again, the ACC season opened. And it was a grand opening, grand closing, as I like to say. You've played 3 ACC games, and you've lost them all. 2 of which were at home. And this one probably is the one that broke the backs of most of Mike Norvell's most ardent supporters. So it really doesn't matter if I think he should be fired or if you think that he should be fired. I say it doesn't really matter. Of course, it matters big picture whether or not a coach, a program, an athletic department, a university has the support of its boosters and alumni and supporters of any kind. They're the ones who buy the tickets. They're the ones who, after all, have to pay for the debacle when it goes south. These days, we pay for all of it. And right about now, we're getting nothing in return. I can only imagine the frustration that the other coaches of all the other programs at Florida State feel. Because we are consistently robbing Peter to pay Paul. That is to say, all of those other programs represented by the name Peter, football being Paul. We take from all of those other programs, basketball, baseball, and all the others, and shower Paul with all the money. And Paul is face down in a ditch, drunk again. It's the 6th time Paul's been pulled over in the last 2 months. What are we going to do about Paul's drunk ass? What are we going to do about drug-addicted Paul? Paul is killing us. So you wonder what has to happen. Because it's not as simple as, well, we cut ties with Paul. We find somebody else to shower with money, and they'll right the ship. Things will be okay. We'll go through a reputational rehaul, and we'll be fine. You sure? Who's that person? Who is it we're bringing in? When does the process begin? Now? Today? Did it happen Saturday as the clock struck 0? Does it happen at the end of the year? Does it happen next week? Does it happen if by chance you go on the road and face a god-awful Stanford team who's already fired their coach, of course, you recall, and lose that game? Are you even allowed back on the plane? The people that will make the next big decision Well, you merely have to walk around campus to figure out who they are. Their names are on the buildings. If you go by the locker room or you go to the practice facility, the indoor practice facility, if you go and you look around the stadium, what do you see? Yeah, you see the people that have to decide now whether they pool their money together and get out from under this, or do they wait it out and risk becoming obsolete? Apathy sets in. Renewals, they don't happen. Stadium half empty. There's a Mike Harrell of the world from Sunstop. There is Alan Flamenhoff. There is Jim Owens. There is Brian Murphy. Yeah, look around. CEO of ReliQuest. Look all around that stadium. There's Peter Collins, who President McCullough leans on quite a bit to get some thoughts as to what should happen in the athletic department. Those are the people that have to decide. You know, the Tampa Mafia, as they're called, the big hitters in Atlanta, those are the two big-time locations of all of the money boosters for Florida State. That's where they reside. Tampa, Atlanta. Do they have a meeting of the minds in a Godfather-esque ballroom in which they sit down and decide who gets whacked and when? And who do they want to bring in? The Langford family. All of these folks are of whom I speak. Because they're the guys. And you, again, are doing a bit of a balancing act now. Now you have to figure out, is it worth it to hang on for dear life and let this year and or next play out to lessen the buyout to a palatable number? Because, of course, the retort is, well, how much are you going to save if you wait till next year? 9 million, 10 million? How much are you going to lose if you don't do it? How many people aren't going to show up? What happens to the recruiting class? What are your possibilities moving forward of bringing this guy or that guy in if you wait? You juxtaposed it with, well, have you looked at next year's schedule? You want to bring in a guy to wear that ass beating? Because we're a middling ass program right now. We're not equipped currently from a talent standpoint, certainly not apparently from a coaching standpoint, to get wins in the ACC. And if you look at that schedule, there's a lot of L's out there. These days, as a Florida State fan and supporter, you probably look at any schedule, any of them, and see a lot of L's out there, don't you? It could be like, well, there's Wake. I don't know. You feel good about the Wake game, do you? And then you say to yourself, as you ruminate on that for a moment, son of a bitch, I don't feel good about the Wake game and our chances of winning it. Should you ever say that aloud? Should you ever have in your heart of hearts a disbelief, a sense of lacking, wanting, yearning to get a win, that you know you're going to get over the likes of Wake? Should you ever have to be wrestling with that? Should you ever be sitting in the position that we are currently on a Monday asking yourself, I don't know, man. I don't know that they're going to go on the road and beat Stanford. This isn't Harbaugh's Stanford. You know, should you be in a position to where you say, well, it's an ACC game. Don't know if we can win it. And the person across from you say, well, who? Which ACC? It doesn't matter? Does it matter? Any of them. So I'm lucky enough this past Saturday to be in the Loge. And those people are obviously the heavy hitters at Florida State. They're the people that have a lot of say in what happens next. And they're, generally speaking, when you meet them and you talk with them, and their love of university certainly knows no bounds. I mean, after all, many of them had to pay $2 and $3 million to be a part of that, and $1,500 a seat. they're in the lap of luxury and they have it, but they're giving to their university. They want to support their university. They care deeply about their university. And this is currently what they're being rewarded with, which is an inferior product within the ACC, let alone nationally. But they are buttoned up, successful business types that generally don't allow emotion to get the best of them. They're analytical. A lot of them, that's how they owned businesses, sold businesses, made a lot of money. They don't let the emotions of the moment get the best of them. They gather themselves. They stay internal. They think deeply. Those people that I witnessed on Saturday late in that football game becoming vocal is a sign that we're at an inflection point with Mike. You may argue that that should have already happened or could have already occurred, but I would tell you that the moment that you wash your hands of Mike is different than when they wash their hands of Mike. They're not better people than you. They just have more money than you. And that money does all the talking. So you and I, we might say, I'm done. I'm done being a joke in the ACC. I'm done with all of the losing. And there's so much losing. I mean, at the end of the day, there's just the losing over and over and over again. You lost every single conference game you played last year but one. You won that one 14-9, if memory serves. And Farmer had a day for the ages, and the kid missed a bunch of field goals for them. So you hung on at home for dear life against Cal. And then, of course, you've played 3 ACC games this year, and you've lost all of them. There's been too much and too many reasons to have the conversation and the frustrations that follow regarding the equity that Mike once had but has now lost. I would think Mike Norvell's most ardent supporter, as I said before, is probably done right about now. Is probably of the mindset, I've tried, Mike. I like you. None of this is personal. That's true for me, too. It's not. But this is a pretty straightforward set of circumstances. The sport we love and have a passion for and seek to be great in is one that is simply measured by whether or not you win games or you lose games and how much. Do you win them at a very high rate with great consistency, commensurate to your pay? Or do you lose them with great frequency in a way that is not commensurate with your pay, in a way that should see you making minimum wage? Are you earning your money? Is the program upwardly mobile, or is it stagnant and in danger of becoming irrelevant? Those are extremes. A lot of times you might say, well, we're not quite there or there, but we're somewhere here in the middle. But we're not even in the middle right now. We're not even in the middle right now where you could have the debate. Well, I think we're going to have to really show real constraint and patience here, guys. We're playing the long game. Hang in there. We'll move from being middling to good and eventually great. You think that's happening? Problem is, if you don't, you say, okay, I'm ready to move on as well. I'm ready to wash my hands. I'm ready to go another direction. Then I say, who? Who's the guarantee? Who's the guy that you're bringing in that you absolutely know, will set Florida State straight down a path of victory in which, and let's define our terms because it's important to do so, what's the goal? Well, let's argue that in this day and age, you need to be a consistent contender for the college football playoff when you're a program like Florida State, right? You are part of the upper echelon of college football historically over the last 45 years, and that is what you seek to be, more importantly, because your investments show the world that you care to be that. It's not my opinion that you ought to be or that this should be a thing. It's what you've invested in. You've shown me time and again with the money that you've poured into this program that it is paramount that we win and win at a high level. That is to say, I don't expect you to win the national championship every year. That's unreasonable. But I do expect you to compete for ACC titles every year, which puts you in a position to make the college football playoff annually. Are you doing that currently? No. Did you have a year a couple of seasons ago now that in which that happened? You did. And it's what gave us all belief that things had turned the corner and we were headed in the right direction. But alas, there is new information before you. And you are free to make adjustments to your considerations and thoughts about what the future holds with this coach and this administration athletically because of that newfound information, the glaring evidence of failure that occurs every Saturday. At least in the ACC, it does. Like I said, we need to get out of this godforsaken conference and join the SEC where we can win some games. Can we play LSU next week? Maybe Alabama? Maybe, I don't know, Ole Miss, throw in a Kentucky or somebody? Because if it's an ACC foe, there's a good chance you're going to lose the game based on the evidence before you. It's interesting because as support wanes, you go to the next heavy discussion, and everybody's going to have an opinion on that. And this is part of the grand soap opera of college football. You go sit down, you belly up, you have that cold beer with a serious-minded Florida State supporter, a serious-minded Florida State fan who does give of their time and their finances, their emotions, because they care deeply. And they aren't the kind to just fly off the handle and act irrationally, but they're the kind to weigh all the options. Now you have that discussion. Now you have the non-Twitter discussion where things aren't serious. Now you have the real discussion about what are we going to do? What's next? Who gets to make that decision? Are you comfortable with Michael Alford making that decision? Is the university, more importantly, comfortable with Michael Alford making that decision? I don't know. Those are the guys that I just mentioned that will have to decide that. Peter Collins and the like. Certainly the university president. And many other heavy hitters that have the sway, that have the power to, pull their annual $10, $20 million donation. That'll get your attention. Why don't you take that off the ledger, gang? I've decided to place my money elsewhere. I'm not seeing a product that I can take serious. I don't think my money's being well spent. I'll hold on to it until I think that you've got your ducks in a row. See, this is the thing that starts to happen now. Those are very real fallout results from these ridiculous outcomes in the ACC. For Mike Norvell, he's got to say what he's got to say. I can't get angry. So many people do. Don't waste your time with that press conference. He's got to say that he thinks it's going to turn around. He's got to say we've got to do a better job as coaches. He's got to say that, we have to implement this or get kids to play with more confidence or communicate better. He's got to say all of the things that you would label as coach speak. He's got to. What's he going to say? I'm so sorry. I resign. I have failed you. Short of him saying that, you're going to be pissed with any answer he gives. So don't waste your time on that. All coaches in his position say the same thing. It's a play here or there. It's a moment here or there. We've just got to find a way to make that. Come on. The big picture conversation is where we're at right now. And I don't know the answer. I wish I could sit here right now and tell you, well, this is all they have to do. They do this, followed by this, and we're good to go. Get ready to go on a fun ride as this thing flips. I don't know the answer. Look at all of the programs that are going to be out there hunting for head coaches. I mean, think about it. I mentioned Stanford with Troy Taylor fired, UCLA Deshaun Foster fired, Virginia Tech Brent Pry fired, Oklahoma State Mike Gundy fired, Arkansas Sam Pittman fired, Oregon State Trent Bray fired, Penn State James Franklin. Peace out. How soon till Luke Fickell's fired at Wisconsin? Real soon. Billy Napier lost another one. They're 2-4. He may get fired, or 2-5 or 2-4. I can't remember. 2-4. He might be on his way out the door. Don't know. And there will be others. So you're in that same pool of people trying to wrestle who away? You want to say Cignetti? He's going to Penn State. He's from Pittsburgh. They're probably, if it's not Matt Rule, probably trying to get out in front of the Cignetti sweepstakes. Because that guy's got the best win of the year, and it's impossible to believe that he's done what he has, and it's amazing. Indiana has the best win of the season. They went on the road and beat Oregon on the heels of a miracle a season ago, and you ask yourself, where did this magic dust come from with Cignetti? He was at James freaking Madison. Who's that guy that we're going to bring in? You got him? You got a good handle on that? Is it Alex Golsh at USF? Because I can promise you if they hired him, nobody around here would be like, woohoo! Just as Indiana folks were probably like, who the hell is Cignetti? They know who he is now, but there's no guarantee. You look around everywhere. That guy seemed to have a good resume at the time he was hired. Yep, fired, failed. It's over and over and over again. So you really are stuck betwixt and between. And I might agree, you got to move on. But the question is to whom and when and how do you get the money? Where's the money coming from? Well, I laid out a few of the names. They'll make that decision more than you and I will. But I know in the short term, season ticket renewals, support, contributions, they all dry up. They all dry up. And you're headed down a path that is absolutely disastrous. It's a lot of heavy lifting to do. A lot of conversation that requires, I think, nuance and understanding of the big picture and who the principal players are. I feel like we could sit here together, all of us, if you're in that category of people that love Florida State, that care about Florida State, that give to Florida State, and we could do this for 4 straight hours, 5 straight hours, you and me. We're just talking here. We're just spitballing. We're just trying to figure it out. What do you do now? It doesn't – the superficial stuff is the stuff where you say, well, you just got to fire Tony White, or you just got to fire Gus Malzahn, or you just got – listen, we're having big picture conversations here. Let's just assume for a moment that we've moved on from this current collection that loses every week in the ACC. Now let's get to the bigger conversation. Florida State's at a crossroads at a very interesting time in college football, and they have just poured so much money. I mean, this is where your frustration with Mike falls, right? You say, Mike, you've been heavily funded, both personally and from a program standpoint. Look at that football-only facility. Look at it. There aren't too many in the country that resemble the beauty that is that facility. Look at the renovations done to that football stadium. They nailed it. They got it right. I was shocked, but they did. You have a top 15 NIL payroll. You have the same rev share as everybody else. You're not losing to Pitt in Virginia because you're not well-funded. So you had everything. And you dropped the ball. And now here we are. And that's why you're mad at Mike. That's why you're frustrated at Mike. It's the losing, but it's also that. You had a head start. And you've been surpassed by so many now. And you put us in a deeper hole. Hey, we can do something about that. But, and maybe it's rhetorical when I say, what are you doing? How did you do this? Damn it, Mike. It doesn't do any good. You got to figure out what's the next step, and you got to be very intentional and smart about it because, man, it's going to involve an awful lot of money from an awful lot of people. Of course, I suppose there is the other side of this. Mike Norvell could maybe remedy the entire discussion by winning out. Is it likely? No. Do you think it's going to happen? No. We'll hope, but we don't think it's going to happen. You don't believe that we're going to win out. You don't believe we're going to beat Florida at the end of the year because we're not. You don't believe that we're going to go on the road and beat Clemson because we're not. The question is, do you think we'll beat any of those other teams, the ones in which you'll be favored yet again, the same way you were by 10 points over Pitt at home, playing a true freshman quarterback? Will you win those games? Will you beat Stanford? Will you beat Wake? Will you beat Virginia Tech? It's It's tough when you can't say definitively, I know that we will. Is it beyond them to go on the road and come out some awkward-ass 10:30 Eastern time game and look dead and go through the motions and be despondent? And the next thing you know, you're texting your buddy going, we're going to lose to Stanford? Like, you can paint that picture. You can hear that. You can hear that conversation. You can see it. I sit here today and I don't think we'll lose to Stanford, but, it's not absurd to tell that story. It's not absurd to say, I'll give you a way they lose to Stanford. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Epps Decorating Center, we're your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. We're your store for quality with brilliant and durable paints in a variety of sheens and thousands of colors. We're your store for service with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. We're your local experts, and we're here to help with all your painting projects. Benjamin Moore, available at Epps Decorating Center with 2 locations in Tallahassee. Find a store near you and visit EppsDecorating.com. That's EppsDecorating.com.
It's where you raise your kids, where friends become family, where every corner has a story worth telling. It's your neighborhood. At ABC 27, we share those stories, bringing you news that connects communities, builds pride, and reminds us we're part of something bigger. We are ABC 27, in your neighborhood.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
When you need the plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to wait?
Hey guys, we really need you over here. My toddler just flushed a whole bunch of toys down the toilet and everything, and I mean everything, is backing up.
2 hours?
Hey guys, just checking in. The water has reached the hallway now and it's getting pretty deep. Can you get here anytime soon?
4 hours?
Hey guys, can you please hurry? Now my wiener dog is doing the backstroke over here and they're not known to be strong swimmers. Hey honey, grab his life jacket.
8 hours?
Oh, so now you're here.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. Our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. And now M&L Plumbing can also be your go-to for all septic tank pump-out services. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing. Your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or online at mnlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Can we talk about the most important things in your life, your family, your friends, your home, and enjoying the time you spend together? You sure don't want to have to think about whether everybody's going to be comfortable. You want Tony Kelly to make sure everybody's comfortable. That's what Tony Kelly does, and that's what's most important for the entire Tony Kelly team. Their prompt, professional service and attention to detail, they're famous for it. Focus on what's most important to you and let Tony Kelly Heating and Air keep everybody comfortable.
Stay comfortable and stay focused on the most important things with Tony Kelly Heating and Air, committed to serving you and your family with exceptional service, skilled technicians, and reliable high-quality work. Go to TonyKellyInc.com to find their full range of HVAC services, including repairs, installations, inspections, and maintenance. TonyKellyInc.com or call 850-385-3774.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You don't get much of a chance, Tom, to kind of do the Miami Vice cut to credits. Phil Collins, take a look at me now playing in the background as you're staring out over the water, contemplating your professional and personal future. Because you guys have the post game to do almost immediately. The rest of us get to do that. We get to gaze out and watch the sun set on yet another loss and another existential crisis in which we say, are you effing kidding me again with this? When are we going to get it together? So when, sir, did you, after doing a nearly 2-hour post-game show, because I went back and looked to see how long you guys talked. That is incredible. You deserve like triple the pay, you and Gene, even though he owns the company. There's no chance I would be on that broken record for 2 hours. But anyhow, you do, and somebody's got to do it, and I'm glad you're the man. But when did you get the chance to come down from all of that, exhale, pour a stiff one, and say, why are we here again? What are we going to do now? And, watch that sunset. When did you do that yesterday? Did you do that before Baker Mayfield's heroics? Did you do that before the Sunday slate? Did you do it late Saturday night as you watched other teams play? When did you do it?
Honestly, about the third quarter of this ball game on Saturday.
Yeah.
I was thinking big picture while I was watching football being played in front of my eyes, because when you see the sequence of events and you get that great field position, because Narduzzi refuses to let the half end like a clown. And you get the ball at midfield, and it's a 3-and-out, and I'm rewatching the plays. So they go to commercial. I'm like, well, what the hell happened? Well, Cromad just needs to hit that on first down, 2nd and 6, and you're getting into all that stuff. And then you just stop at some point.
Yeah.
And you go, stop it. It's like The Informant, one of my favorite moments at the end. Matt Damon's trying to craft another lie. I'm like, stop it.
Stop. Yes.
Stop.
Just we're done. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, but on third down, no, stop it. We're done. Just take a look at the big picture of what's happening here. And it's in real time. It's as their true freshman quarterback, who isn't Johnny Manziel athletic, is made to be Johnny Manziel. Anytime he breaks the pocket, you can't get him on the ground.
Yeah, better thrower. But yeah.
Oh, sure. But I'm talking about
I know
the run stuff.
Yeah.
He ran for 60 whatever yards.
Yeah.
And we're hesitant. And we look like we did last year, where they're caught in between and they're thinking and they're not reacting. They're not getting downhill. And it's the spiral effect. I can understand the circumstances. This is what I was thinking. I can understand the circumstances of the Virginia loss. We talked about it. I believe that still. Pitt doesn't change my opinion of what happened in Virginia, but you lost that game, and that takes a toll on your confidence. And then Miami was the better team, and I still believe that it should not have been an 11-point deficit at half. Miami was the better team, but that takes a toll. It's 28-3 to start the fourth quarter. And then you have a chance to put this game away to start the third quarter.
Well,
next thing you know,
put game pressure on them, yeah.
Right. And then it's 21-all. You're going down. You have a chance to score a touchdown. And I don't know if there's a read option on the play or not, but the 3rd and 5 ahead of the kick that puts you up 24-21 feels like you took points off the board.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like you added points to take the lead. In that moment, even though you go up by 3 from a tie ball game, it feels like now you're losing. So the answer is, short of pouring the stiff one, all of that stuff was happening in real time in the 3rd and 4th quarter, and it felt like it was just going to happen. And then you sit away from it for a day. And I listened to Mike's press conference today, not for we got to do it as
I listened to it as well. Of course I did. Yeah.
I feel like I'm in an AD scenario here. We had our line of delineation and our date, and I feel like we're in the aftermath of the end. That's what today felt like watching that press conference.
Yeah. This is weird. People will not maybe understand where I'm coming from with this. I feel for a head coach, really not just ours, anytime we've reached that place where we recognize we're on the back end, it's going downhill, and a change is going to have to be made. It's just a matter of who makes the change, to whom do you turn to, when does it happen? It's just because in that moment, there's no good answer that you can give for the repeated losses. Like, you can't, there's nothing you're going to say, especially like you can go micro or macro, but nobody wants micro after a game in which it's your 3rd straight ACC loss and you lost 10 games a year ago. Nobody cares that, well, we got to do a better job of communicating. Yeah, well, you don't. I don't. Yes, maybe that's true. Maybe it's true specific to this game that you needed to do a better job of communicating. I don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. Who cares? You didn't, and they constantly don't. So I feel for them in those positions because, listen, the reporters got to ask those questions about the whys and hows of a loss and the look ahead to the next game. They've got stories to write. They've got the information they need, context, all of that stuff. And those quotes are necessary. But big picture, nobody listening to that is going to do anything but get angry. Because there is no answer that's going to say, oh, they figured it out. The losing's going to stop now.
It's just a matter of, as that was going on in the second half, what's happening to the fan base and the investment level.
Yeah.
And Alabama, in a way, I would never give that day back. It was amazing.
It was awesome.
But it's gasoline on the fire that we struck a match for on the road at Virginia. It added gasoline to this level of anger. The sequencing matters.
Yeah,
if you're 3-3 and you take that win from Alabama and you place it differently on the schedule, you're still mad today, but you're not furious and done and over it. And I'm not trying to make that an excuse. I'm just saying sequencing matters, and fan investment matters in this sport more than any other sport in the United States. Fan investment matters more. The gate matters in every sport, but they don't fund it beyond the gate the way they do in college football. And they're done, man. So what are we talking about here? And I think the advanced question for those people that you were hobnobbing with and rubbing elbows with on a Saturday is, which is more expensive?
Well, right.
Keeping him or paying the buyout? They're both very, very expensive. Which one is more expensive?
So, yes, and they can do the cost benefit, the analysis of all of that. And to be sure, that's being done. I would think that's being done. The problem, Tom, is golly, it gets very, very complicated in a hurry. Because let's just say you come to the conclusion that it's going to cost you more money long-term and do more damage to the program, recruiting and obviously donations and all that other stuff, reputation. Let's just say you come to the conclusion that you've got to move on. Again, you're going into a very deep pool where there are a lot of programs looking for a head coach. So you're fighting with them. So Sexton's got it made right now. He always does. He always bends every administration over the barrel. That too has to stop. But who's going to be the first to say no? I mean, again, look around. There are coaches who were not big names doing a great job at programs, and they've built themselves into being something of importance in the coaching realm, who many people hadn't even heard of, and that aren't paid $10 million a year, right? Are you bold enough to say, I don't need a Lane Kiffin for us to win here. I don't need to go out and get the biggest name that I've got to overpay while I also pay off all these people we're about to fire. And then that way I can generate the kind of revenue and fan support that I'm looking for with a splash hire. Or do I say, okay, I'll go get an Alex Golesh from USF. I'm not saying that we're going to do that. I'm just using a guy who's having success at a lesser tier program, who's right in your backyard, who might win the American and go to the college football playoff in year 3 at USF, right? He's doing more with less. So you look at a guy like that. But I also know you hire that guy, ain't nobody doing backflips about that. They're not all going to be charged and excited about that kind of a hire. You're stuck.
Maybe in this era of college football, you hire a general manager with a name and you have an Andrew Luck scenario, like what's going on with the opponent that we're about to take on this weekend. That is the figurehead, and then it funnels down.
Well,
and you operate more like a professional organization and say, look, we're bringing in coaches who are going to train these players. I'm the figurehead. That general manager, of course, is not going to collect $10 million a year, and we're going to deploy our resources onto the roster. That's what we're doing. We have these beautiful facilities that we have just opened. Not sure if Mike's going to be there for the ribbon cutting or not, but somebody is. Somebody's going to be there for the official ribbon cutting of this thing, and we're going to deploy resources left and right into our roster. We are a player-first program here at Florida State. That could be a path. That all sounds nice, but, in practice, you also still need to get kids to connect with that coaching staff, top to bottom. I don't know. It's not an easy question.
It's not an easy question.
And I hate having existential crises at Florida State football every year. It's been a decade of existential crisis with Florida State football since the Louisville loss in 2016.
Yeah.
More times than not. I'm tired of it. But you got to do a CBA on this and see which is more expensive here.
Well, you're talking about something that is interesting, and that is whether or not Michael Alford survives as well. And that's another discussion about all of this. And, man, I think he knows. In fact, I know he knows how important that game was on Saturday. Norvell knew. The boosters knew. Everybody that is in a position of power and or authority at that university knew how important Saturday was. It's written all over Mike's face currently when you see him at this press conference. He knows damn well what just happened. That is an unmitigated disaster to his reputation, to his future, to this program.
It's not the same expression as 0-4 before they came back and made a season
not
of
at
it
all.
in 2021.
No.
Very different expression. And it's not just because of the black eye under his right eye, which is not improving. Could have really used some Neosporin here the last few days. Look worse today.
That's probably because he's exhausted.
I know. It's just optics, man.
Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Better rates, better options, stronger support, faster response. Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. Those are the states he operates in, and he is unwavering in his commitment to you, helping his fellow Knowles and others get the best loan options to buy your new home. That's what it's all about. Go to loansforknowles.com to learn more. That's loansforknowles.com.
Your local news now.
Changes could be coming to that full. Continues to unfold in Gadsden County. This is Rachel Linnea with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 85 this afternoon. Under sunny skies, winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows level off around 59. High of 86 tomorrow. Dry Wednesday and Thursday under clear skies with highs in the mid-80s. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 80 degrees.
And here come the leaves. Thousands of them falling fast, covering every inch of the yard. But wait, who's this rushing in? It's the Lawn Johns with the ultimate fall cleanup blitz. From clearing leaves to fresh pine straw and mulch, the Lawn Johns dominate the field, your yard, so you can focus on what matters. Grilling, chilling, and cheering on your team. Don't let leaves sack your game day fun. Call the Lawn Johns today and win the battle of the backyard. The Lawn Johns, your lawn, our game.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, I never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played. But
And you still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Never lose your nerd thoughts on doing whatever to get Signetti. We won't get him. What would be best for FSU long-term, writes Frankie. 9-3 or 8-4 and keep Mike, or 6-6 or worse and fire Mike. That's actually a good question, Frankie. I'm not in love with starting over. I hate having to start over again. It is such a financial burden to do. I also would like, to win some football games. So I understand we have to have the conversation. Do you think that if they were to go, I'll just play out the scenario for you. So if they go 9-3, it means that you win the rest of your games. It means you beat Clemson on the road, and it means you beat Florida on the road at the end of the year. Now, that is not going to happen, but let's just say it did for your purposes. I think there would be real momentum going into the offseason if that happened. I think you might be able to put together a decent recruiting class. And that's where I do want to start. Do you think long-term that Mike is ever going to get it right in recruiting? Because I'll tell you what sucks. What sucks is watching Virginia and watching Pitt and recognizing that you don't have an appreciably better roster than either of those two programs. That athletically, you're not superior to Pitt and Virginia. Not in a way that jumps off the page. That's a problem. You know, when Miami lost games a year ago, you could see their defense was dreadful. But you would look around and you go, man, they got a lot of good players, and I'm a little worried that this is going to come to fruition, and they're only going to add to it, which means that they were recruiting very well, the high school ranks. They were assessing and developing very well. This brings me to the other issue with Mike. This is not a very talented roster. And name the guys that he's developed and turned into really good players from the day they signed as a freshman and now are seniors, and you're saying, man, that kid really became a great player. Glad we brought him in. Ain't many. And then you got to ask yourself why. Well, he's either doing a poor job of assessing. Maybe it's Derek Ray. I don't know. But what I would tell you is that somebody's responsible for the lack of talent on this roster. And I would also tell you that he has clearly not found the guy that in recruiting you would say is akin to, Coley, when Jimbo had Coley, or any of those hired assassins that Tim Brewster, for the biggest clown that he was, he could recruit, right?
Eddie Gran.
Who's the Eddie Gran on this staff? Who is the guy, Craig, who's the guy that goes out and gets it done in recruiting? That is winning those wars, those head-to-head battles with the others that you seek to compete against in this state and in this footprint. Because we're not winning those battles. Hell, Napier's out recruiting our head coach on the regular after losing 6 games a year. So he has not prioritized recruiting at the highest level, and he's not enforced his, that standard to his coaches. Do you have faith that even if they were to go 8-4, 9-3, that's going to change?
I think this year was supposed to afford you the belief that sets you in on the path. And so, yeah, I know what you're rolling your eyes at, which is, that's great. That sounds like an indirect pathway, inefficient. You need to go buy a roster for 1 year.
Again.
It's this season to provide you with juice to hit the trail with. It just got so much more expensive to keep this class together if you can do it. Think about what they did last year.
It got so much more expensive to keep the few good players that are on your roster currently.
Correct. And you're going to have to re-recruit your roster when the portal window opens on January 2nd. It runs to the 16th. So this is where I'm saying, what's more expensive? I know what I believe. Now, that's not a hard and fast report done by data researchers like we used to have on the show. You can actually get granular in terms of projections on contributions from every level. But I'm talking now on the expense front. In order to keep this high school class together, you're going to have to pay more. Like Mekhi Danzy, I'm sure a lot of other programs do as well. Think they're going to come calling? I think they will too. How expensive is it to keep Mekhi Danzy on this roster year over year? Chroma, Win, the Desirs. It's going to be very expensive unless you make a change. Maybe there's a chance that you pull some juice back your way. But the problem is you got to look at the calendar here. And if you're going to make a change, signing day is the Wednesday between Florida and the ACC championship, of which we will not take part. Unless they say, here again, the bottom feeder in the conference 2 years in a row. Everybody give a hand for this first quarter timeout to Florida State. We appreciate you, Florida State. It's that Wednesday before then. So if you're going to make a change, you have to do it soon.
They're not going to do that.
But think about how
you'd have to know who you're bringing in, and you'd have to be able to leak that to recruits.
Yep. And you'd need a lot of cash up front. Once again, from the battle's end,
huge influx of cash,
because it's going to have to be more than rev share. That's what they did last year. That's how we flipped as many guys as we did to recover from the 50s and be in the top 20 in a recruiting class, we had to overpay for Chromo and to keep Win and all the other guys that we got to flip at the 11th hour. It's very expensive to keep him right now.
Yeah, you can't keep doing that. That's not sustainable. And
then they get here. You think they're going to get better when they get here? Where's the track record of that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not seeing the development either, and that's where the frustration lies. It's like, okay, look, you're not doing a great job of player evaluation. You're not winning recruiting battles, and the players you do get in here, they don't get better. Just like the seasons don't get better as they go along. They get worse.
Well, and you brought in a new staff, but do they have the time?
Well, they're also not elite recruiters. The guys you brought in are not elite recruiters.
I'm just saying for the development question, but are they going to be afforded the time? Is it worth it to give them the time? Is this a 3 or 5 year commitment for Gus? Or is he here for like 10 minutes and then he's just going to retire? Because, it matters that the offensive coordinator can develop you and the staff underneath him. Because if he goes, is Harris going to be around? Is Herb? Every question you ask leads you more into an obvious place, which is he's got to go.
Well, it just ends up being a fundamental sweeping indictment, and then you start over. But golly, does that just feel so ominous at this point with the people that have to make the decision and whether or not you trust them? How soon do they make it? Who's out there? Who are you going to get? Who's the guarantee? I keep asking it.
Coach, are you interested in a Bobby Bonilla financing of the buyout?
Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Sluggish? Wake up your body the right way with Vigor. The all-new Vigor Cold Plunge Tub from Hot Spring Spas is now available exclusively at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Boost circulation, reduce inflammation, sharpen your focus, and more. Elite athletes do it daily, and now you can too. Experience the power of cold therapy in your own home. Come see the Vigor Cold Plunge, available only at Pinch a Penny on Capitol Circle Northeast and Greer Road.
Your gutters aren't going to clean themselves, and this October is your one shot to get it done free. Call Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing before the month runs out, and your gutter cleaning costs you absolutely nothing. No obligation, no purchase. Just clean gutters before the next storm rolls in. But hurry, October's ticking away. Go now to guttersolutions.net. That's guttersolutions.net. Or call today, Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing. With us, it's personal.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you are thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373031.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Your sports flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
NFL football from Sunday. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers get an impressive win over the 49ers, 30-19, as Baker Mayfield throws 2 touchdown passes. He also had a scramble late in the game that really helped seal the win for the Buccaneers. It was quite the day for him. 17 of 23, 256 yards. The Buccaneers at 5-1. They are going to play a week from today when they match up against the Lions coming up next Monday night. Elsewhere in the NFL on Sunday, the Jaguars, they end up losing to Seattle 20-12. They'll take on the Rams in London next Sunday. And the Dolphins lose to the Chargers 29-27, falling to 1-5 up next. They've got a game against Cleveland. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Remember when they used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? At Bank of America, we ask every day, what would you like the power to do? When you work here, you help build businesses, inspire communities, and forge legacies. And now we've raised our U.S. minimum wage to $25 an hour. So the opportunity to do more also comes with competitive pay. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/25. Bank of America. Proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Budget Blinds of Tallahassee is your local window covering experts. They do it all: blinds, shades, drapery, shutters, even home automation. And they'll be there with you from the design to the measuring to the installation. Budget Blinds is with you every step of the way.
Hello, I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds of Tallahassee. Let us help you with your unique window treatment needs. Call us at 668-4835 for a free in-home consultation or find us online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon there is one every few weeks. That's why the Seventh Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, Seventh Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The Seventh Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
sometimes cathartic, sometimes angry, sometimes measured conversation about what has to take place next in the midst of another 3-game losing streak, which is absurd. I know our cohort and buddy Corey Clark pointed that out in the post-game wrap with Ira, who will join me, Ira that is, this hour. Florida State, Mike Norvell responsible for 6 of the 10 3-game losing streaks Florida State's had since, 81? I mean, that's a toughie. That spiraling effect is weird. You know, I got into a conversation with somebody over the weekend who's owned companies, been successful, and has had a lot of advice over the years about leadership in general. Because I asked the question, and the question was, why do you think this keeps happening to him? You know, you have the exception of the undefeated season, but where the season doesn't play out in a way that watches the program get better with every passing game, the development gets better with every passing game, and you crescendo towards the end of the year where you're feeling very good about the level they're playing at, but rather instead you start really strong and then fall off. And or how does one loss turn into 2 losses, turn into 3 losses? A lot for this guy, right? And this person said to me, well, you know, I learned early on when I was given some authority to make big decisions within the company. So you have, let's say, 50 employees or 100 employees or even 1,000 employees later on, right? This person was talking about when you view the way and you think about how it is you're going to manage and how it is you're going to motivate and how it is you're going to connect to your employees, you have to view it the same way that you view, say, a grand piano. You're not going to play the same note over and over and over again. You're not just going to always play an E over and over and over again. You got to utilize all the notes, and you've got to put them together so that you make music. So that means that if I come to talk to you about a problem, I may, to use this analogy, play one note. But Bob over here is an entirely different person. He doesn't have the same sensibilities that Tom Lang does. He doesn't have the same skill set that Tom Lang does. So I need to talk to Bob in a different way or play a different key for Bob than I play for Tom. And he believes, to some extent, Mike plays the same hit over and over and over again. And I do think that is a fair observation about Mike. He knows one way, which is this: respond. What an opportunity. You've got a chance. I believe in you. But it's never nuanced. It's just that over and over and over again. And I believe that when you hit adversity and you have a fallback, a transgression, that playing that same note over and over again might fall on deaf ears.
It worked in 2021, but it was the first time he needed to use that card. You know, it was about unwavering. In that moment, you would describe it as unwavering.
You needed to be, because you were still selling yourself and your modus operandi, your mantras, because there hadn't been, with this convoluted started to a career with COVID and all of these things, there hadn't really been a crisis or a moment or a crossroads yet. Now you were at one, and you needed to stay the course so that you were able to prove that you believed in what you were doing. Fine, but now you've stayed that course and it's not working. It's not working. And now it does seem to ring hollow. It is not. It is falling on deaf ears. They're not getting better. They do have a crisis of confidence. They do regress instead of improve. I mean, you watched that Alabama game. We all did. Florida State was prepared, buttoned up, physical, all the things you were hoping to see. Since that time, we've watched this regress. We've watched this get worse. They're not as physical as they were. They're not as convicted as they were. They don't believe in the way that they did. They are regressing in a way that is obvious to all. They're not better than they were.
This is something we saw often from our compatriots to the south in Miami when we would beat them inevitably through the streak that almost got all the way to the Platinum Bohica.
Almost.
That loss would break them.
Yeah, every time, and they would just fall off a cliff.
Yeah. And
we are that Miami team now.
I think defensively, yes. Offensively, I can understand some of the reasons that things came up short on Saturday.
Well,
there's more logical reasons there. We're never allowed to have pass catchers that are healthy against Pitt. It's just part of the rules now. Understood. But defensively, you've seen this from the Virginia game to the Miami game. There's a little bit of uncertainty, and now it's a crisis of confidence. They're rat trapping left and right, and Tony doesn't know what to do. because the linebackers that he throws out there to start the game are not the guys he ends up playing later in the game. So clearly there's a moment that he has on the sideline where he says, well, I got no use for these guys today.
Well, they can't cover.
Right.
They can't cover. They get isolated in coverage all the time, and it's an embarrassment.
Right, and they get isolated in coverage often because you have to commit extra bodies
Correct.
to the rush, so therefore you're in disadvantageous situations,
All right.
and even that extra rush doesn't get home.
So let
and
me
even
add,
when it does and you got a free shot on the quarterback, you whiff.
well, let me add then that crisis of confidence is not just born from the inability to create the confidence, teach it, and obviously the implementation and execution of it, but rather you don't have good players.
Oh, yeah, there's a little of A, a little of B, and all that. Absolutely.
They don't have good players. Certainly not at certain positions. Let's just put it that way. There's some positions here that are lacking tremendously.
Yeah, that front six, probably about 4 of them at any given time that are on the field. You're in trouble.
Well, I've been hopping up and down about linebacker play forever. I mean, good God almighty, man.
I don't think it's as bad if you can sit back and play coverage and zone, but you can't because, the quarterback has too much time. And he tried a little bit of everything. You had 4 down a bunch on Saturday.
Desperation, yeah.
You had a spy in there when they're in their own end zone, and for some reason your linebacker is sniffing around the goal line. Buddy, it's third down and 6, I think. 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. Why are you anywhere near the line of scrimmage as a spy? That's the only place you can't go, because if you guess wrong, he's just going to strut his way.
Oh, my man shimmied his way to a
down.
first down left and right. Played with no fear. As a true freshman, walked in here and played with no fear. He made a couple mistakes, as freshmen do, but he was not playing with a lack of confidence. He was not overwhelmed in the moment at any point.
No, the interception off of the block punt, which again was special teams. We're done here, right? Aren't we?
So listen, let me. Can I just say? And again, I know this ostracizes me to him forevermore. I think Papuchis is a nice enough guy. What is it you say you do here? You don't recruit. Special teams is terrible. We don't have ends. What do you do? What do you do?
This is one thing I said.
What do you even do?
David Johnson coaches the punt returners, and he always shoots them with the Super Soaker squirt gun. And my question is, was that the fear spray from the Scarecrow in Batman? We shooting him with the fear spray? Because we're cowardly back there, and that is not a one-person problem.
Oh, it
is
myriad.
That ball's moving faster. Oh, my God. Gravity does accelerate. Get out of the way. Peter. Guys, special teams every week does something to embarrass us. And it's done that for a long time now. It's not always the same facet. It's not always the same moment. But something every week special teams does, and you go, huh?
Well, see, this is getting back to what I was kind of emphasizing in hour one. We can go through the pockets of failure in any given game where something stands out like a sore foot, like you realize, oh, we're not good enough here. They're not coached well enough here. This is a repeated problem. Ultimately, it always comes back to the head coach. Why are these things that are persistent? And I'll tell you this, again, I'll use his own words. Mike made a very specific point in his opening press conference to talk about what the importance of special teams meant to him and how it was representative of the overall health of a program, one that he's going to be running. And that has failed repeatedly.
I'm here to tell you, if that delay of game is not whistled down before the fake punt, and it's kind of an early whistle, actually.
Yeah.
Like there was still 1 second on the clock.
Right.
I think there's a non-zero chance he's already been fired. If that play is allowed to run.
You mean Papuchis?
I think Mike. Here's why. It seems like the only 2 people who knew it was on were the long snapper and Sawchuk.
That's correct.
Nobody else blocked.
Mass confusion.
That type of moment evokes such a visceral reaction from people in the stands, and I know you saw visceral reactions.
No, buddy, I saw
stands.
some hilarious reactions.
But a moment like that, if it was a live play, is enough to take emotions to a place where people act on emotion.
I don't know. It's too big of an undertaking right now in terms of that kind of a knee-jerk. It wouldn't be a knee-jerk because it happens consistently.
It would be the final straw if that was allowed to stand, because then they've got a short field, they go down, they score, and you have mass hysteria. The people who are apathetic are back awake again and screaming and throwing stuff.
But they already get moments like that. They get enough of those moments, man. It happens all the time where something's not buttoned up. That should be. That is a clear sign of coaching negligence. You know, when you're consistently telling me about communication issues every week and misalignments every week, my man,
If only they got to practice.
I mean, what is it you say you do here again with this? I understand there is no perfect team out there. There's no perfect coach out there, but there are some things that are repeatedly on display that suggest there's too much on his in terms of, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is the failures, the systemic failures within this program of certain simple things that are usually buttoned up and are signs of a cohesive group in coaching staff are things that in no way should still be on display 6 years in. And at that point, you are now check marking on the ledger all of the things that lead you to make a change. You're saying, well, we still have this issue. This still happens. Why does this still happen? He doesn't recruit. This still is a problem. You know, these kinds of answers that we get every week are, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years. Check.
I mean, you would think things like special teams, penalties, communication would have buttoned themselves up because Mike has more time to spend on those because he's not with his nose in the play sheet anymore.
Well, he brought it up in today's press conference, how pissed he is that they had personnel issues. They didn't have the right personnel on the field at times. What are you telling me, man?
Right.
How is that even possible?
Every question we ask about, and why is this and why is that, pushes you further to the conclusion that if you've got the money, it's easier, like for my baseball team, Uncle Steve, you and your billions,
go
fix
this. Yeah.
These are people. These are fans that have to fund this, boosters that have to fund this.
Yeah, I feel terrible for the fans.
And in the last 10 years, they've been asked to fund the football-only facility, Willie's buyout, coordinator buyouts last year. That a lot of times they've had to field a phone call from this university.
Jimbo's buyout.
Do you have time for a FaceTime
now? And I will tell you this. That's actually when you'll know. And this will be interesting to try to monitor. This is where I use all my back channels and try to check in with people. When the heaviest of heavy hitters are then asked to do more, not you and me throwing $5,000 into the program because we love it. I'm talking about somebody reaching out to the names, the kinds of names that I mentioned earlier. When they're asked, you got an extra $10 million laying around? Then you know the decision has been made.
That's right. Well, here's the other part of the trickle down. You think Coach Laux today is maybe calling his people saying, you're still spending with me, right? Because I know you might just have to go spend somewhere else. And this is the trickle down. It's just.
I've got thoughts on that too, by the way. Again, the resentment that those other programs and their coaches must feel. That's when I made the joke about we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and Paul is just an indignant, irresponsible pain in the ass who's ruining our reputation. But, Luke Laux, for example, has precious little money dedicated to him from the rev share. I mean, I need to double check this, but it may be the lowest percentage of rev share money for a money program, basketball, football,
right,
baseball.
power program.
Yeah. Might be the lowest in the Power 4 from what I've been told.
And then what secondary revenue he's generated is a rounding error for the Norvell buyout if you were to go down that path, which, again, leads me to believe that there might be a call. Hey, you still with me? I know that you might have to divert some funds somewhere else, but we good here?
Man, the frustration. There's just so many anger. Can you imagine? You think Coburn is so happy he's out?
Oh, my God.
Because you'd be looking over at David right now going, well, you hired him, and you also hired Willie, and you also hired Meat, and you also, a tough day for David. He didn't have to worry about it, but.
I didn't expect a David Coburn stray today, but here we are.
There it is. Everybody's fair game right about now, buddy. We're here we're facing this again.
Somebody I don't cry for because it's a prestigious position. But you think the university president's like, okay, so again, you guys talked to me about this whole ACC lawsuit. We had to talk about transitioning
Good
here,
thing we
moving
won
money
that.
around there.
Good thing we won that.
Again.
Well, I'm sure. Again, I think that President McCullough is probably talking to Peter Collins right now, or he did this morning early.
Right.
What are we going to do?
Well, I think I have part of the transcript of that call. That's it. That's part of the transcript of the call. Now, I don't know which person that was, but I'm sure it could have been either of them. but that's part of that phone call. It's Gus at a press conference.
You think that can you imagine the emails that Stephen Ponder's reading right now? Any of these guys like, all right, let's fire up the computer and get our day started.
I remember when time was up for Coach Bowden way back in 2009. That was my first year working at the place of employment. And the day after, the phone lines would not stop. You're on the air at 3.
Yeah.
I get there to start my intern stuff at 10. And it was all 6 lines the entire day. Now, they don't make noise, thankfully, but it's just the lights. And I go, Maddie, have you seen anything like this? And Millar, with a boss move, hits busy all. He goes, there you go. The lights have stopped. That's, I think, the booster office today. I think that's, if somebody has their hands on McCullough's phone number, his poor secretary today, Alford, all of them.
But there are calls you got to take.
Sure. They have a different phone line.
I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that Mike Harrell or Brian Murphy are waiting in line with the guy that's calling Stephen Ponder.
They have the cell phone. Yes.
T-Spark not only does commercial and residential roofing, but also helps with home remodeling, additions, and businesses that need updates or build-outs. Check out their website for all the construction services they provide. Multiple states to boot. I've told you that many times as well. They'll also provide for you a free consultation. T-Spark Enterprises. If you want a guaranteed win, call T-Spark for your next roofing or construction project. They conquer all peaks. That's tsparkconstruction.com. tsparkconstruction.com. Also note that license number CGC 1525336, CCC 1331204. Irashfel, Warchant.com. We'll do some conversating as we're wanting to do on a Monday. Busy one at that. Here next on the Jeff Cameron Show.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites. A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
U, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good, get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right, get a new roof, got to get eyes on those shimmering new shingles, get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373031.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com. For the man who's not afraid to live a little off course, thewaywardgent.com.
Your business doesn't stop, and neither does IOWise. From the trusted owners of Mac & More Systems, IOWise offers 24/7 IT support, cybersecurity monitoring, HIPAA and compliance consulting, cloud data management, phone systems, and full network design and security. For healthcare, finance, legal industries, IOWise specializes in keeping sensitive industries protected and connected. Local service, major protection. Visit iowise.com today and discover why smart businesses trust IOWise.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Good times. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Here's our guy, Warchant's own, Seminole Headlines, Coach Speak. Man, all of it. And dear friend, Irashfel, Warchant.com. How are you, good sir?
I am great, Jeff. How are you?
I'm well, man. So where do you want to start? Where do you want to start? Well, I'm serious, because today is today's tough, because I think we would recognize that a lot of people in this fan base, a lot of these season ticket holders and boosters, supporters of any kind, even the most, again, as I said in the first hour, ardent supporters of Mike are now at that crossroads. You can't lose that game. We knew going in. You and I talked about it on the air together last week at this moment. We talked about it again on Headlines. You talked about it on the Smash. You wrote about it. Everybody knew going in this was a game you couldn't lose, and they lost. So I don't know where to go other than, damn it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the question now is, unless something crazy happens, which is totally unforeseen, it seems like it's more a matter of when, if, and I don't know what the moment would be. I don't know if there has to be like one bad moment where, if it's a loss at Stanford, or if it's
that'd be pretty bad,
a loss at home to Wake Forest, or there's going to be some opportunities where if it goes poorly, it could happen, or if it's just going to be the end of the season, if the rest of the year just kind of goes average. But I don't think what that game did was, I think it removed any of the people that could, still try to, excuse away some of the problems. And I'm one of those people. I sat here last week and told you on this spot that I didn't like when people throw up his ACC record, because I no pun intended when I say throw up.
Right.
Because I felt like we lived through that, and you decided to bring him back. And once you did, I feel like you need to move on. But now you can't even make that argument anymore. It's fair game. Everything is fair game now. Going back to, the excuses we made for the first couple of years, the recruiting and COVID and all that, like, there was a benefit of the doubt a lot different times along the way. But at this point, you really can't give benefit of the doubt when you've lost 3 straight games, including Virginia and Pitt. And honestly, you just don't play well. You're just not a good football team. There's nothing really you can point to and say, okay, yeah, this is what we're building around. So, barring him just somehow getting these guys to turn everything around and close this game with a ton of this season with a bunch of wins, it feels like it's inevitable at this point.
You wonder what that process would look like. What a weird time. Part of my concern, and I brought it up in that first hour, saying, all right, let's just assume that you're one of the many people that wants to move on from Mike. The frustration is, man, you're about to enter into a very busy coaching search, coaching carousel that's going on all around the country. And you're also in a position where there isn't a candidate necessarily, not a realistic one anyhow, that will guarantee you that the bloodletting stops, that you suddenly get it right. The guy's going to come in and you've got a better than 75 or 80% chance that they're going to win and win quickly. and create a buzz around the program again. I mean, who's that guy that you're bringing in? And I think realistically, you would get a buzz if you somehow were to bring a Cignetti in, and you and I might love that, by the way. But he's not. I don't think he's coming here. He's from Pittsburgh. It's likely that Penn State will target him. Who then is on your list? Do you want to go out and spend too much to bring in Lane Kiffin? The rumor is that Michael Alford, if he ever did have to make a change, would target Lane Kiffin, would want Lane Kiffin. But, okay, entertain that for a moment. A, is that the right move? B, would he even leave Ole Miss to leave the SEC and come to an ACC program and start anew? I mean, who's the guy? It's really frustrating because there isn't an obvious answer.
Yeah, I honestly think that would be asinine at this point to spend top dollar on a coach when you – in this era of college football, and that's what I wrote about today in my 3-2-1 piece. I just think we're moving from the era where the coaches were the end all be all of these programs, and like kids aspired to play for Bobby Bowden of Florida State, or Steve Spurrier of Florida, or Joe Paterno of Penn State, and so that coach was this figurehead that drew these players, and even Jimbo Fisher to some degree when he had it going, and Urban Meyer, they didn't have the longevity, but they became the guy. And that's how you got players. Well, that's what you're paying them so much money for. I think we're moving to an era where they're not going to be as empowered as they are now. The players are going to be more empowered, and it's going to be more like pro sports. So my guess is it's going to be too early for Florida State to make that leap and say, you know what, we're not getting in the bidding wars. We're not going to try to hire that big guy. We're going to go get somebody else. And the reason I don't think Florida State's going to do that is because if you just look at Michael Alford's track record and how he approaches these things, he goes big. People didn't think they could get Link Jarrett after they passed him over on the first time, and he had success at Notre Dame, and they got Link Jarrett. Brian Penske, the soccer coach, was an SEC Coach of the Year. You went and got him from Tennessee. When everybody said ACC schools are too broke, you went and got an SEC Coach of the Year. You look at, this offseason, going and getting Tony White and going and getting Gus Malzahn to leave a head coaching job to be an AD. The only job he's filled with like a less than big name was Luke Laux. And that one, we'll see how that plays out. But that's the only time he's kind of gone off that script. You look at the investment they've made, and he's pushed to do what they've done on facilities, to be bigger and bolder and have the prettiest toys. So I just can't see him making the leap I'm talking about. But, man, I think it's crazy. You're already leveraged to the hilt with the stadium and these facilities. Now you're going to owe $60, $70 million, whatever it is, when you add in the assistant coaches and all these buyouts for this whole staff. Then you got to bring in a whole new staff, and you're going to be a head coach, going to guarantee him, $100 million to get Lane Kiffin? I think it's asinine, but I understand that that's probably the direction, a lot of people want to go, and that does bring excitement. But, man, I don't, that's not the approach I would take. I think I would be much more measured, and whether it's the Alex Golesh or, whoever it is, I don't know who I would advocate for, but I would not advocate for just, again, throwing more and more money at a problem that just keeps getting.
Well, and it's weird, too, because you're looking at a situation where if you did go huge and if you did get a big name and you could guarantee me that this gets turned around with the quickness, then you might do that. You might say, fine, I'll do it. I'll pull the trigger.
But there is no guarantee.
Right.
Exactly.
That's right. There isn't one. So I don't think I would do. I would be inclined to look at an Alex Golesh. He's right in your backyard. He's done amazing things at USF in a very short period of time. He was on Matt Campbell's staff. Matt Campbell is a guy that Penn State will give a look at. If they don't get Cignetti, they'll like to look at him. He's a well-thought-of coach. His track record is a good one. I would look somewhere along those lines. But, yeah, I don't think I'm going out and spending $100 million on Lane Kiffin. Let me ask you the other side of this. Do you think there's any chance, based on what we've seen the last few weeks and what we know, that this ends up turning around this year? Do you think they go out and win, let's say, this game at Stanford and turn around and beat Wake Forest and then win it, go win against Clemson and somehow this all gets saved? Or do you think it's far more likely that they lose a bare minimum of 2 more games?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything telling me that it's going to turn around. Again, the defense, it seems like he's playing whack-a-mole with this defense.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the way they played at Virginia, you couldn't stop the run. So next week against Miami, okay, we've got to stop the run. You're hell-bent on stopping the run. You stop the run. You give up a bunch of big plays. So then you come into this Pitt game, and it's like, okay, we can't give up all these big plays we gave up against Miami, so let's play this deep, high shell where you've got guys 30, 40 yards down the field, and the linebackers are close to the safeties than they are the line of scrimmage. And so that's how you end up with these, guys running wide open underneath, and you got a quarterback running for days. I mean, there are plays in that game where the quarterbacks run past the line of scrimmage, and guys still aren't triggering to come up. They're so afraid to make a mistake. But so, yeah, what would make you think that that's going to get turned around? Now, I think Gus will figure out a way to scheme up 25 or 30 points. Seems like that's what he's always going to do. But I just don't see, when you can't play defense, and this team really has not played defense since that Alabama game, it's hard to imagine where you could say any of these games are sure wins. I mean, I don't know that Stanford's a sure win. I don't know that Wake at home is a sure win. I don't, so no, I do not expect it to turn around. But, I'm sure that's what they're fighting like hell to see if they can make happen.
What do you think happened? I know for people who don't know, you did write on warchant.com, your 321 column. You answer some of this, but I like to get it from my listening audience as well. You asked the question, did players and coaches get overconfident after the 3-0 start? Do you think they did?
I think they absolutely did. And, you love to think that coaching staff wouldn't let that happen. But, man, I think I may have mentioned this on the show or on headlines, but, I was on the field before the Virginia game, and I just watched the way they interacted with Virginia's players, the way they walked around the field on the pregame. And I am not the Pollyanna, don't talk trash.
Right.
You should act like you're, above all that, and walk in with a suit, and look like it's 1960s Notre Dame. I'm not that guy, but I felt like it was way too brash and way too overconfident based on one win against an Alabama team that may not have really been ready that day, and then two directional schools. So I did not like the way they approached that game, and then sure enough, they played that way. And then, they did play hard against Miami, but in this game again, it just felt like they thought they're better than they are. And I don't, and you look around this coaching staff, and you brought in some new coaches, but you also brought in some young coaches. Tony White, we all like, I like talking to him. I think he's a sharp guy. I think he's got a lot of potential, but he hasn't coached in a program that I know of that's won at a high level where there were high expectations. He's had a good career. He's done some really good things, but he and then the guys that work underneath him, like, man, there's a way you got to carry yourself as a coaching staff when you're winning games, and especially when you're beating inferior talent, that makes the players understand that they haven't done anything yet. And for whatever reason, it feels like that message was lost. If it was delivered, I don't even know if it was delivered, but it feels like it was lost.
Ira, you asked questions today of Mike Norvell, and I'm just kind of curious. And I listened to it on my drive in. You think he recognizes just how desperate this situation is? Like, it sounded like it in his voice, like he knows this is just empty rhetoric.
It's a weird time, man. And I heard you guys talking about this in the first hour, and I think you guys kind of nailed the situation, that nobody wants to hear the micro, but really we can't sit there and ask 30 minutes of questions.
I agree.
About, the big picture. He got a couple of those questions, but there's only so much he's going to say. And we do have other stories to write, and we can't just ask the same question 10 different ways. So that's where we are right now. And I'm sure fans watching that press conference want to throw something at the laptop about the questions and the answers. But yeah, he's certainly aware that, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing as a program. And I don't think he's trying to hide that. He's admitted it. It would have been if he had come out after the game or then today and talked about how great Pitt is and how, you don't realize those teams are on scholarship too, and half the teams lose every time. That was some of the stuff we were getting from the end of Coach Bowden's tenure, and that's more insulting. But yeah, man, he has to know, and listen, man, he's got to keep fighting, and he's going to keep fighting, and his coaching staff has to keep fighting, and maybe there's a way they turn something around on these players. But yeah, there's no indication that that's going to happen, and if it doesn't, I'm sure he realizes it's going to be difficult to survive this, at least, and keep his job. He's going to be fine either way. But in terms of keeping his job, it's going to be really difficult.
He can afford one hell of a beach house. I'm not going to cry.
So I heard you bring this up earlier. I didn't hear where you ended up going with it, but I know you've talked, and other people have talked about the challenge of next year's schedule and and then the cost of firing him and all that. Like, if they lose a bunch of these last games, I mean, is there I can't see a scenario where he survives.
No, I would fire him. I wanted him fired last year. I did. But I also allow for others, the other side of the coin. I'm not saying that it's an absolute.
A lot of those circumstances still do exist. The buyout's still over $50 million.
Right.
And you do have a crazy schedule next year. So, it's not like those circumstances are totally different, and you understood why they kept him last year.
Yeah, I did. I'd still fire his ass. I'm moving on. But like for people listening, the reason Ira brings this up, and I brought this up in the first hour, and Tom and I were talking about it before the show as well. So for next year, there's a philosophy. You know this, Ira. You were a manager, and this is important. Like, it really is. It's serious talking points here. When you make a change within your organization, you want that person to be set up for success, whether that's putting them in a position to succeed by the people you surround them with, or in the case of a new football coach, you take a good long look. Like, can you imagine? Billy Napier must have been like, thanks a lot, everybody. I get this schedule. I get this, But like, next year, if you bring somebody in, they have to play Alabama, Florida, Clemson, Louisville, Miami. And then you have away games as well against the likes. Well, Miami's on the road. Louisville is on the road. You just lost to Pitt. You play them again. You play SMU. Sorry, I meant to mention that. Clemson, Florida, and Alabama. And Notre Dame. Sorry, forgot to include Notre Dame. Good luck, buddy. That's a toughie. Like, you bring in a guy and guarantee him that he's going to lose 5 games. It's not a great way to endear yourself to the supporters of this program, right? Well,
but also think about what it does to your job candidate pool, because who wants to sign up for that job? Listen, man, even if you're going to get a guaranteed 5 years or 7 years or whatever it is, coaches know that first year is super important.
Mm-hmm.
That's why coaches take certain jobs, because, hey, that job, that guy's recruited well. That's why Urban Meyer might have been attracted to Florida. Hey, that guy Ron Zook might have been an idiot,
but he has players.
Well, yeah. So you want to know what talent do you have and who do you have to play against that first year, because you're going to need that to springboard recruiting. So again, that goes into who are you able to attract. And again, if you make the move, I don't think that that's enough of a reason. I've heard some people say it's so daunting that that's why you don't make the move. Well, man, I don't. If you're 6-6 or worse, you have to make the move, I think. But I do think it maybe, again, illustrates why maybe you're going a cheaper route in a less long-term contract to give yourself an out if it doesn't work out with the next guy. Because I just don't think you want to marry yourself to somebody who starts off 4-8 or 5-7.
Yeah. Again, just a reminder, I pulled it back up. Yeah. You've got Notre Dame, you're at Pitt, you're at Miami, you're at Louisville, you got SMU. You always struggle with NC State. They're on the schedule again. You got Clemson, you've got Florida, and you got Bama next year. That sounds like 6 losses.
Lane's begging to come take that job.
Be good, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Chef. See you, man.
Yeah, thanks. That's Ira Schafel, Warchant.com. That's brutal. So we got to go to break, but our conversation, yours and mine, earlier today was there are 2 different philosophies. Like, once you've done the cost-benefit analysis and you've decided it's going to hurt you more not to make a move, there is the other side of it where you say, because Tom's point was, well, you bring in a new guy, you get a little bit of a buzz, you pour your NIL money into high school recruiting, you sell it to the people that, hey, look, this may not be a great season, but we're going to play a lot of young guys, a lot of really talented young guys that we brought in here early. They're going to gain all kinds of experience against a really tough schedule, and then watch this thing grow, watch where we go from here. But my counter to that, and that's fine, that's one way of looking at it. My counter to that was, I don't like the idea of bringing in the new guy and setting him up for absolute failure. On the road at Bryant-Denny Stadium, Clemson, Florida, SMU, at Pitt, Notre Dame, at Miami, at Louisville. Whoo! If those become the kinds of losses we consider are likely, then the guy you brought in, no matter who he is, immediately loses whatever new car smell and positive momentum that he could gain by being the new voice.
Yeah, I think the hard part here, though, is in the old days, Urban Meyer, Ron Zook, kids had to sit out a year.
That's right.
If they wanted to leave Florida when Ron was done, they can all just leave in January. So if you keep Mike and the kids understand what's going on, and sure as hell, their agent does, their representation does.
Sure.
Son, you might be able to play this year at Florida State, and Lord knows they don't have a whole lot of talent, so we can make some money here right now. But you could also play somewhere where you could be in meaningful games. So which do you want to do? You want to enter the portal, or do you want to stay here? So you have players with representation that could lead to a mass exodus in January, and who are you paying to come in here? You're going to need an entirely new offense next year.
Yeah.
No matter what, you're going to have to pay for an entirely new offense next year.
Yeah, well, and also, by the way, so obviously, when you bring in a new coach, if you bring in any new coach, they're not keeping any of these assistants. They're not keeping Gus, and they're not keeping. Yeah. So
I'm just saying, if you stood pat, and let's say the coordinators, continuity, head coach, coordinators, you still are spending gobs of money to retain the guys you have on the roster, and then you've got to replace 5 offensive linemen, 1 or 2 wide receivers, a quarterback, unless you want to give the keys to Sperry. You're going to have to spend a lot to keep Chroma, to keep Danzy, McCoy, anybody that you like.
They're going to a lot of
right. No Moss. It's a very difficult predicament to be in, and I don't think you can afford to stick with what's going on. I think the more that you add it all together between enthusiasm, what it would cost to keep the recruiting class together, what it would cost to re-recruit your own roster, what it would cost in the portal to entice a kid to a situation like this one,
right,
rather than the other 3 choices that they have, that is so expensive. It's crazy.
All of it's going to be so expensive. All of it, no matter where you go with this. I will say that if you let him wear the beatings next year before firing him, you bring in the new guy, we may think it's easier, but not just do you have Georgia in 2027. Let's not forget, East Tennessee State comes to town. And, buddy, what are we out here doing now? Now you've saddled this guy in 2027 with some matchups that are awfully difficult.
See if we can keep Jalen King around for the revenge game. That'll give us the edge.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Development for a new Buc-ee's is one step closer to becoming a reality in Tallahassee. Leon County Commissioner Rick Miner confirming that the gas station is still in the early stages, but proceeding without any major issues. The land slated to house the gas station is Park Place PUD on the west side of Capitol Circle Northwest, north of I-10. The 73-acre site would house the 75,000 square foot facility. The parcel acquisition is nearly complete, and the anticipated groundbreaking date is Q1 of 2026. Buc-ee's will need to submit site plans for review. The county will then schedule a public hearing, giving the public a chance to give their input. The new development brings 200 full-time jobs. Entry-level hourly wages start at $16 an hour, up to $32 an hour. Managerial positions with salaries ranging up to $100,000. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update. Brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 85 this afternoon. Under sunny skies, winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows level off around 59, high of 86 tomorrow. Dry Wednesday and Thursday under clear skies with highs in the mid-80s. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 82 degrees.
The 2025 hurricane season is here. Are your gutters and drains up for the challenge? If not, now's the time to call New Vision Gutters. Your trusted local team that keeps water out, no matter what the skies throw at you. Full service from top to bottom for gutter repairs, gutter installs, leaf and debris guards, drainage fixes. We handle it all. Don't wait for the next big storm to find out you've got a problem. Call locally owned New Vision Gutters today. We keep our minds in the gutters, so you don't have to. Online at newvisiongutters.com.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, they never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct, yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
And they still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Yeah, it gets, I do find, I mean, taking into account certainly that, you know, it's real people with real families and it's real life, relocation and all that. Again, they're not volunteers. They're all paid handsomely. So I'm not going to be like crying a river over here about guys losing their job. But I always take into account that, you know, a guy didn't want to get fired. But alas, winning solves all. Losing makes the decision easy. And you just go from there and start talking about what's next. And that I do find intriguing and fun to talk about, even with the knowledge of all the other things.
Do you agree with the sentiment? I've said it a couple times today, but it's just what I believe. The more that you vet this, the easier the decision becomes about to act now or to not act now. I know what you're saying about the realities and that you would have done it last year.
I would have.
But now, even though you're going to have to raise money, should you have the funds, let's just say that for argument's sake, that if you know that you can secure the funds or structure the buyouts such that it's not a giant haircut immediately, it's something you can spread out over time. When you ask one question about how do you fix this, three more spring up from there. You talk about whack-a-mole with the defense. How about whack-a-mole with the future of the program under Mike? Where's the answer?
Yes.
I mean, you ask about recruiting or the portal or the assistant coaches or the enthusiasm from the fans. It's like, well, at least he has blank. Fill in the blank. Is there something? Well, at least he has.
No, what people don't like about the idea of firing Mike is twofold. It starts with the fact that he had the undefeated season. So within this mediocrity / failure is this one outlier incredible season. Now, he also had a 10-game winning season and 19 straight at one point. So you're armed with that reality. That was a thing. It did happen. And so you're holding on to the dream that it could. I would argue the portal's changed a lot since we hit home runs last. It's not operating in the way that it was then. And he gets credit for that, for seeing it, recognizing it, jumping on it, taking advantage of it. But subsequently, it's changed. So that sort of miraculous sort of find is not out there anymore. It's not going to happen. And when you take that away from somebody, the stark reality is what we have here, because that's the way the rest of the seasons look. And moreover, if we're going to look at the most recent outcomes of these games and these coaching efforts, you have the last two seasons. But even within that, there is the Alabama win. So there's this nugget, this kernel of, well, maybe. But moreover, there are all these ACC losses, and they are bountiful. They're everywhere you look. And so, no, I'm with you. I think you do move on. I would have already moved on. I don't know how it's possible at Florida State University to go 2-10. I mean, that was such a failure of cataclysmic proportions that I thought, well, you're going to have to take it on down the road, unfortunately. The other part of it, the second reason people feel a sense of reluctance, I think, with Mike particularly, besides that, those snapshots of success, they believe him. They believe him when he says, nobody cares more about this than I do. Nobody wants us to win and wants us to look a certain way than I do. Now, a coach is going to say that. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I think I care more than he does. I think you care. Now, he wants it for his coaching prowess and success and future. We all want to succeed in whatever it is we do for a living. But he, I'm
sure Sam Pittman cared a lot about what happened at Arkansas.
I'm sure he did.
And he can do so from a booth. If if Mike cares that much, I'm sure we can get him a spot in the loge and we could talk about 2023 while he's sitting in the loge.
He can afford a spot in the loge.
Sure.
He's been paid handsomely. He could easily throw down the money for that. But nonetheless, there is that. People feel bad. They know that Mike is passionate. They know that Mike cares. They know that Mike appreciates FSU. that he has a real affinity for it. I think that's real. I don't think that's a lie. I think he does care. It's unfortunate. He's failed.
Yeah, there it is. It's just, and where's the replenishment coming from after this year? This year was supposed to be the stage setter, and now it turns out that instead of water, it might be Roundup, and we're trying to grow a plant here.
No, it sucks. Again, this can sound heartless at times. I don't really care that he cares. That's great. I'm glad you care. It's not translating into enough wins. I care more, so I'm gonna have to let you go.
Yeah. Well, that donation can stand even through a change in administration
because of how much you care.
You can leave the money there.
Yeah, we need it. Clearly,
could really use it.
Listen,
you're gonna have plenty of our money anyway.
I didn't get to the contributions this hour, and I meant to, and that's on me. I'll go ahead and do that next hour. It's funny when you start acting. It would be a fun little movie or sitcom for you and I to write. How you can create a for cause with Mike. Because you and I can be devilish when it comes to that. I've got all kinds of ways that, that's an unfortunate photo that was taken this past Thursday, Mike. Come on into my office. But I wasn't even there. Oh, but this picture suggests otherwise. It'd be a shame to have this leaked.
AI is a powerful tool these days. I really thought that Bryson DeChambeau punched Rory McIlroy at the Ryder Cup. And they told me that was an AI video. I don't know. Maybe it did happen.
No, we could bring back our guy, Diabetes.
You can't bring him back. He's dead.
Pictures and such, Mike.
You know what got him? The diabetes.
The diabetes. But no, we can bring back the soundbite over and over again.
Pictures.
Yeah. Well, this is the kind of thing that oral and such.
A Sears catalog.
Hour number 3 forthcoming. Stay with us. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Can we talk about the most important things in your life? Your family, your friends, your home, and enjoying the time you spend together. You sure don't want to have to think about whether everybody's going to be comfortable. You want Tony Kelly to make sure everybody's comfortable. That's what Tony Kelly does, and that's what's most important for the entire Tony Kelly team. Their prompt, professional service and attention to detail, they're famous for it. Focus on what's most important to you and let Tony Kelly Heating and Air keep everybody comfortable.
Stay comfortable and stay focused on the most important things with Tony Kelly Heating and Air, committed to serving you and your family with exceptional service, skilled technicians, and reliable high-quality work. Go to TonyKellyInc.com to find their full range of HVAC services, including repairs, installations, inspections, and maintenance. TonyKellyInc.com or call 850-385-3774.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. He can put them to the test. Barry knows heating and air conditioning. Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barry knows heating and air conditioning.
Here's the cold, hard truth. Your body needs more than you're giving it to stay healthy. And now it's easier than ever with Vigor, the all-new cold plunge tub from Hot Spring Spas. Available only at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Cold plunges reduce muscle soreness, boost mood, improve sleep, and so much more. It's not just a trend, it's science-backed wellness. And now you can have it in your own home. Ready to feel alive again? Pinch A Penny has the exclusive home use solution. Visit us on Capitol Circle Northeast and take the plunge.
Tired of watching baseball score updates on your phone? Get off the bench and head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is your home for all MLB games in-state or nationwide. Enjoy the coldest drinks, Tallahassee's best wings, and watch your team in crystal clear comfort. And if you'd like to compete, come by Tuesday nights for CP Trivia and Thursday nights for Beer Bingo, where you can walk home with cold, hard cash. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
WVFT Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Florida Gators fall at Texas A&M Saturday. They're back at the Swamp this week, laying 10 against Mississippi State, 52.5 the total. Florida State laying 17.5 at Stanford, 54.5 the total at Stanford Stadium. South Florida 22.5 point favorites at Raymond James Stadium against Florida Atlantic, 73.5 the total. The Jaguars at Wembley Stadium in London this week, a Sunday morning matchup with the Rams. Rams open 3-point favorites, 46.5 the total. Two Monday night games today. Bills laying 4.5 with the Falcons. The Commanders, a 5.5 point favorite at home with the Chicago Bears. Score $500 in rewards at the G-Bank First Bet VSiN Trifecta. Details at vsin.com/GBank. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Remember when they used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? At Bank of America, we ask every day, what would you like the power to do? When you work here, you help build businesses, inspire communities, and forge legacies. And now we've raised our U.S. minimum wage to $25 an hour. So the opportunity to do more also comes with competitive pay. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/25. Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I'm a plumber and needed to get work in the door.
So business was going down the drain?
I went to Staples. They printed yard signs, business cards, even flyers to leave at supply stores.
But at what cost, man?
Well, I saved $125 on my order, and now I'm booked solid. Boom!
Back at ya. For your business printing, Staples.
That was easy.
Now save up to $125 on custom print orders. Valid in-store and online. Ends 11/1. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Florida man, you're all crooked again. What did you do to yourself this time?
Well, we were tailgating before the big game, and I had to defend Hank's honor. Some guy saw him wearing his gold chain and said, "Nice Gator fan." Can you believe that? Hank is a Seminole, thank you very much. But it all went downhill during Flip Cup. Hank was losing bad, and the guy starts heckling. He says, "Figures a Gator fan can't flip." The next thing I know, Hank's all over the table and going for the guy's throat. I tried to break it up. I grabbed a keg to end the chaos, and bam, my back went out like a lawn chair in a hurricane. I didn't even make it to the game.
Let me guess, Hank went without you.
Yep, stormed the field after the win.
At Finn Chiropractic, they'll get to the root of your pain and deliver the solutions. Book your appointment online at finchiro.com, and you'll even get an online discount. Visit finchiro.com today and find your path to a pain-free tomorrow.
It's where you raise your kids, where friends become family, where every corner has a story worth telling. It's your neighborhood. At ABC 27, we share those stories, bringing you news that connects communities, builds pride, and reminds us we're part of something bigger. We are ABC 27, in your neighborhood.
Every life tells a story. At Cornerstone Memorials, we help you preserve that story with care, compassion, and craftsmanship. Whether it's a custom headstone, a beautiful monument, or a heartfelt inscription, our family is here to serve yours. Visit cornerstonememorials.org and discover how we've helped Tallahassee families honor their loved ones for over 50 years. Choose Cornerstone Memorials because the memories of the ones we love deserve to last forever.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
agree. The only one in all of Tallahassee. And, thanks for watching on Warchant TV as well. The YouTube feed has been great. Very busy today. Appreciate all of you guys, those in the comments section, those that have reached out, those that have tweeted and texted and emailed and all of it. Now the conversation shifts, I think, definitively. I think that's the way we look at today. It's that you're level-headedly, surprisingly, just, okay, let's, we're moving forward here. We recognize what has to happen. Now, where do we go? Where do we go from here? And the problem is, again, there's a financial aspect to all of this that is daunting, to say the least. And then there is the problem of who's the guarantee? Who's the guy that you're going to bring in and it's going to be program altering towards the good for the foreseeable future? I've talked a lot about recruiting. I've talked a lot about that area of failure for Mike. And, it's on display when you see the lack of depth on this team, for example. When guys go down around here, their replacements are either not ready, are guys that have not been developed, or are not good enough. And that ought not be the case at Florida State. The programs that find a degree of consistency, and that's becoming harder and harder to do in this era of college football. Certainly a lot of this talent is now spread out. And I don't know if that's good or bad, Tom, when we're talking about making a coaching change. It's interesting to me that, okay, look, there are the outliers. I think a program like Ohio State is the outlier. It is the most consistent. It is invested. It is successful year over year. Their bad years feature 10 wins or 11 wins. Their good years feature a national championship run. Right? So their window of success and failure is amongst the elite of the elite, even when they're on the wrong end of their expectations, right? I don't know that there's many programs out there that are like that or aspire to that. Clearly, Penn State does. They just fired a coach who made it to the national semis last year. Now, they had an easy draw, and the reason he was quote-unquote successful was that the playoff expanded to 12, and you could accidentally get in even when you annually lose to the two biggest teams in the league, which are Ohio State and Michigan, which he also annually lost to all the time. You could still have a successful season and make the playoff. He did. But you also can't be the first program to lose back-to-back games in which you're a 20-point favorite. He had already fallen out of favor with a lot of their money people. And clearly that team, for whatever reason, just a couple of weeks removed from taking Oregon to overtime, decided to quit on him. I mean, you don't go to UCLA and face a team that hadn't won a game and get beat like that without kids deciding to take the weekend off. You don't lose to Northwestern, sorry ass, the following week after doing that without kids having decided and saying summarily, we're done with you. So there were bigger problems there than the X's and O's. They have other issues. I think that administration recognized that's what those two losses meant. If I were covering that team, we'd have much greater insight into that, but I think that's an easy conclusion to draw. They have bigger issues. There's a lot of talent on that team. When you look at the draft and the projected draft for next year, there are a lot of players on that team that are going to be drafted. So they have culture issues there. They made the move. I think they were trying to be proactive and get out in front of it. They know that the whole world's going to come calling to Mr. Cignetti, who just had the biggest win of the college football season by going to Oregon and knocking that team off. What he's done at Indiana is unreal. It doesn't even seem possible. But nobody, not even the fine folks at Indiana, could have predicted that that was going to happen. It's not as if Cignetti hasn't been in college football for 30 years. He's like damn near 60 years old, if not 60-something years old. And he was at James Madison. If everybody knew he was the next boy wonder, the genius that was going to shake up college football, they would have already hired him. He was available because Indiana couldn't go out and get a real name. They had to go out and get this guy that nobody knew about, who had once been on Saban's staff, and lots of people have. But anyhow, they did, and it's worked out. They fell into it, is my point. Who's the guy that we would circle and say, that's the guy that's going to make it all better? That's the guy that when we fire Mike and dole out all of this money is going to come in and give you the kind of success we're craving. I also think you have to, and I think I know the answer to this, you go back to a program like Georgia. Now we're talking big picture college football. What are you? What do you want to be? What are your goals? Defining terms. Florida State has shown me time and again by their investment into that stadium, the indoor practice facility, the way they pay their coaches, etc., that they believe in the idea that There is a trickle down, and it begins with your football program. If your football program is elite, and if your program continually fights for conference championships, which these days lead to playoff appearances and or national championship runs, if they're that, if you want to be that, and you're all in on that, then this will not stand what you have here, right? That's what you want to be. That's who they are. That's what they want to be. Other programs, we'd say maybe that's not it. Georgia was very successful under Mark Richt. Very successful. Georgia annually had 10-win seasons in the SEC. They fought for conference titles, etc. But they decided somewhere along the way, that ain't it. We want to be what Alabama currently is. We want to be the team in the SEC that everybody looks up at and admires and fears and loathes and is chasing. I'm tired of this 10-win nonsense. We want to be the best, right? Okay, Penn State just made that announcement that they want to be Ohio State. You don't fire Franklin a year removed from making the national semis unless you're saying, no, man, you lose every meaningful game against every ranked team, and now you're losing to teams that suck. We're done with you. We want to be that. Bring it back home. Florida State wants to be that. Florida State wants to be better than Clemson in the ACC, wants to be better than, obviously, Miami in the ACC. Florida State wants to compete for national titles. That's the investment they've shown in this program. They're top 15 NIL. They have the tradition, the cachet, and obviously what they just built with that football stadium and that indoor practice facility and that football-only facility. Man, it is first class. They are all in on winning and winning big. So then who do you turn to get that result for you? Who is that? Well, it better be a guy that recruits. It better be a guy who does something that maybe as an administration in the past you would not have stomached. Because what Kirby did was tell Georgia, I know how the sausage is made. I know what they do at Alabama. You guys haven't been interested in doing that around here. You've got to ignore all kinds of things that make your stomach turn in order to get to that place. But I know how it's done, and I'll get you there. You're going to change laws for me. You're going to look the other way for me. We're going to have people careening off the road on a weekly basis, running over the citizens of Athens, and you're going to do nothing about it because this is the price you're going to pay to win big-time college football games. That's where we're at. You want to do that? I'll sign with you. If not, I'll stay right here as a top assistant making a ton of money. I'll take the next job that will do what I'm asking you to do if you want to win big. So around here, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. You're going to have to bend the rules, and you're going to have to find a guy that's willing to do it, and you're going to have to find an administration that says, yes, we need to do it because we want to win big. We don't want to be this. We certainly can't be this, whatever this is. This is us in limbo out here sucking every week to ACC teams.
Sounds like you're advocating for taking the big swing. Are you talking yourself into
not Tulane necessarily, but yeah, that's what
he would cost you about $12 million a year. He's at $9 million right now. I think it'll be $12 or $13 million because he would have multiple people courting him, including Ole Miss, who'd want to keep him. And the other problem is, right now he hasn't pulled a Lane. He tried on Saturday with Washington State, didn't happen. He successfully avoided a typical Lane Kiffin loss. So if they're playing in January, what are you going to do? You're supposed to wait around, let a signing day come and go, let a portal open before you have your answer as a head coach? I don't know. That's toughy. I think you need to make a statement on what you're doing in the next month, be it that a statement comes down from the athletic department or the university that says that Mike Norvell is the head coach, and Mike Norvell will be the head coach this season and next season to give you some semblance of evidence that you can ward off negative recruiting for signing day. If you're going to go that route, and I hear everybody in the chat screaming, I'm not saying that's what I would do. I'm saying if you're going to keep me, you better signal it to the world so that kids understand when they're saying yes in
don't
December.
Posit that into the universe.
If you're going to keep them, you can't have this middle ground nonsense.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I'm saying you got a month. You got about a month.
I was going to say
decision.
You can't know that now. You can't come out publicly and say we support Mike Norvell and then have him lose to Stanford. I mean,
I think the players get on and I'm not talking about the football players. I'm saying the players get on the plane heading to the West Coast this week, not saying much of anything. Good evening, Mike. And you sit down in your chair. You buckle up. All right, Mike, that was a great flight, wasn't it? Okay. And then you leave the plane and you watch these next couple of games.
Yeah.
Many would say it's already should be over. I think it should be over too. I do.
Yeah.
I think the more we ask the big questions, the fewer answers we have. We don't have any answers. No clear-cut path. Where's the path back for Mike? Hey, buddy,
So, the conversations that are happening behind the scenes for any sort of impetus for change and what's possible and who you're bringing in, it's also got to be delicately and deftly navigated, because you have the potential to have real egg on your face and to look like fools, bigger than the fools you look like now when you lose every ACC game you play. You are going to, let's say, be in search of a coach, right? And let's say that you have a shot at a big name. You want to throw that out there? I'll give you an example of how these dominoes can fall. And it's kind of fun, right? So work with me here. Matt Rule's press conference today at Nebraska. All right, so that goes down. Now, immediately the local press is going to ask Matt Rule about the Penn State job. Okay, that's the first thing that's going to happen.
You're setting dominoes here. I'm going to get in the Brian Windhorst position.
So Rule professed his love for living and working in Nebraska and trying to return the Cornhuskers to the upper echelon of college football. He did nothing on Monday to shut down the speculation that he could end up being the next head coach at Penn State. Okay, let's, for the fun of it, say that, in fact, Matt Rule, who's 50 years old, scheduled to make $7.5 million this year on a contract that runs through 2030. Let's say Matt Rule decides, my dream job has just come open. I, at one time there at Temple, dreamt someday of coaching Penn State. I always wanted to be at Penn State, and the Penn State job is open. And let's face it, I'm not doing a great job of turning Nebraska around. Plus, I have to be here in Nebraska. So, maybe I just had my dream job open up. What does it mean to us? Well, here's what it means. It means Cignetti is there for the taking. Better get out in front of it. Better call his people, which is going to be Sexton, I presume, and say, hey, man, not for nothing. If a job like Florida State were to come open, might your boy, Kurt Cignetti, be willing to sign on the line which is dotted and be understanding that you are not going to have an opportunity once you say yes to this proposition to then hear other offers that may be coming your way weeks from now, such as the University of Florida's job, or name your teams, because there's going to be a progression of coaches that are going to be fired. It's already happened. More on the horizon. You're not going to listen to the Wisconsin chatter. You're not going to take the Badgers job, not that you'd want it. You're not taking an SEC job with Arkansas. You're not going to Oklahoma State, which you wouldn't want to go to anyhow. You're going to Florida State because we're offering you the job. You're coming here, and we will Google you. Come on, Kurt Cignetti. Let's have some fun with it, baby. You can win in Indiana. You can win the whole kit and caboodle here annually here.
We'll do more than Google you.
Yeah. So, you can have some fun with it if, in fact, Cignetti's available. That call's got to go on right now. I know. I'm just having fun, but this is part and parcel to the conversation when you got a coach on the hot seat who's in real trouble now, and deservedly so. Is that the route you'd want to go?
I would also shoot my shot. It would be like you reaching out to Selma Hayek, seeing her on the streets of New York or a big city.
Dream come true.
You got to shoot your shot.
Selma.
I
you
would
don't
ask,
know me from Adam. I'm a sports talk show host in Tallahassee, Florida.
I would be told no. And I know this is going to be a short conversation, but.
Dan Lanning?
No.
Oh, buddy.
I would ask how much it would take to get a certain man named Saban
out of retirement.
Yeah. Is it $15 million a year? Is it $20 million a year? What is it? What do you want? Is there a number is there not a number because you're done and you don't want to be in this stupid era of college football? $18 million a year? Because you talk about instant credibility. I would just be told no. I want to be told no before I go further, coach. And I talked to one of your former proteges for 5 minutes in SIGs. I just want to know, are you done? Because I know you got pissed off at McElroy earlier in the year for saying that you're going to be back in coaching. Was that real? Did you say something in confidence to McElroy that he broke the confidence on? Because if it's real, I just got to know, coach. 18 million? 21 million? What is it? What do you want? Because I will go find some private equity for this hizzy. If you will say yes, you tell me the number.
Yeah, okay, so you'd kick the tires on Nick Saban.
I would just make him tell me no. And I know, much like approaching Selma Hayek on the open streets, this is going to go.
You don't know if you don't shoot your shot.
This is going to be a 10-second conversation. But I'm going to have the conversation. When I write my memoir and my life is near its end, I'm going to say, I did ask for Nick Saban, and I was summarily laughed out of the room. But I would try.
So Nick Saban's last 5 seasons at Alabama, and this is interesting because a lot of people are under the misnomer that they had begun to fall off. They hadn't. By Saban standards, they had. But in big-time college football in the SEC, they had not.
And I was fond of pointing that out. I'm just saying, where we are right now.
And I used to argue with you about this. I'd be like, Tom, they're not flailing. They win 11 games a year every year in that league, and you're calling them failures. So Alabama in 2019 went 11-2. Then they went 13-0. Then they went 13-2. Then they went 11-2, and then they went 12-2 and undefeated in the conference. They weren't failing. He didn't leave because he couldn't hang with the new way of doing things. He was winning and winning big, just not to the standard that he had set, which is an impossible standard.
And I understand it. People are going to say, oh, they really think they have a shot. I'm like, no, I don't think so, but I want to know.
Yeah, make him tell you no, is
That's
what
right.
you're saying. Make him say no.
And then we start the conversation from that point on, and we start hunting. You can hunt at different levels, to your point. Do you want to go for a big swing in order to gain the enthusiasm and drop $10 to $12 to $13 million a year on the new head coach?
I think it's a fun conversation to have. Wouldn't it be a joy to say that, to be like, so here's the problem. He's 73 years old, but he is an awfully young 73-year-old.
He and Mac Brown are contemporaries.
Yes, and he looks worlds better than Mac. Will be dead within a year. Now,
solo camp.
I hope he's not. I'm not rooting for it. I didn't say that in a way that's like, hey, get rid. But come on, we ran into Mac at the ACC meetings. I have twice, and both times I thought, oh, no. He's around the corner. The sickle is leaning out, looking over the corner.
The sickle.
He's looking. He's looking. He's like, there he is. Is it time?
There's only 2 things the sickle is good for.
Should I take him?
And I'm not in St. Petersburg, Russia.
So anyhow, he's a young 73, and you really wouldn't need him for very long. You need him to be the rest of his 70s, maybe 5 years to 78. I need you to be 78 when you leave here after you've turned this into a 3-time national champion under Nick Saban, and we will erect yet another statue. You'll have one at LSU, you'll have one at Alabama, and you'll have one here at Florida State. My God, sir, you talk about solidifying an already
You'd build one.
Sterling reputation.
Build one of him in the introductory press conference. There's a podium, and he's there.
Yeah.
And he's pointing. There it is.
Well, also, I would look forward to being reprimanded at every single press conference for asking a very straightforward, innocuous question, which he would then turn into a rant about why it is that those of us in the media are the reason these kids aren't succeeding on Saturday. I'm like, all right, this is great. I get to be chided for nothing. He just had a rant in mind and he wanted to make a point. So go ahead, Jeff. Coach, Saturday, you're facing a top 3 defense. When you go to a game like this, how best do you prepare your offense to, and whatever the question is? And he's like, see, you're the problem. And then here we go. And I'm like, yes, this is going to be great. I would love it.
With a whole bunch of ites. We're trading your nose for our ites.
Yeah. It'd be great. I forgot that at one point in his career, he was the DB coach for the Houston Oilers.
Was he really?
Mm-hmm.
That's an elite polo that he had once upon a time.
That's the best polo you could have. That thing is sweet. I wonder if he still has it.
You should ask him when he takes the job.
When he takes the job. Coach, this is out of left field. Everybody knows about your time at West Virginia. They know about your time at Michigan State, certainly with the Dolphins and LSU and the Cleveland Browns. We all know all of that. But I want to talk about your Houston Oilers days.
He'd actually appreciate that question.
He would. Can you get me a shirt? He was also with Navy. Yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff on his resume, including being a 7-time national champion coming to take over Florida State University and shakes up the college football world. Come on, Nick. You're feeling it. That coaching urge, the bug has hit you again. You can't believe the Florida State job's coming open. You were a great admirer of Bobby Bowden. Come on in.
or the text gets through. It says it's been read and there's no response.
Can you imagine on that front how many times he's been offered a head coaching job since he's left?
Oh,
every day?
Every 5 minutes.
Every 5 minutes. The Penn State job just got offered to him an hour ago, I'm sure.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Probably last night.
You're not kidding.
Oh, sure. So he gets to sit around with the wife by the lake. Penn State, Florida State. Where do you want to go, babe? Do it before Gainesville offers. Let's go. The part I wanted to bring up, and I know we got to go to break, but I on a serious note, to circle back to something here, you got to be very careful, and you got to navigate this definitely, as I was saying. Tom wants to do it by offering Nick Saban the job. That's fine. I don't mind being publicly turned down by Nick Saban.
That's right.
But I do think it would be fun to say, A, Nick, do you want the job? And then B, immediately pivot and realize, hey man, we're not going to put ourselves in a position to be embarrassed. Lots of people are going to be going after the same 4 to 5 guys or thereabouts. And Sexton likely represents all of them. So any offer that you're going to make to anybody at this point needs to be with the understanding that you're not going to use this offer to screw me over publicly and have your guy turn us down publicly so that we just look idiotic over and over and over again. This comes with the understanding. This is the offer. This is it. That's all. There's no other yay or nay. It remains private. I'm writing it up that way. We're not doing this. We're not doing the thing where he would be interested, and then immediately call, your rival down the road or 5 other programs. Yeah, he would be interested. Yet no, we're not doing that. This is it.
He would be interested.
That's how I envision him. Michael, if we lose to Stanford, I will. Well, we're at a point now where I'll just echo what we're saying today. I mean, it's that's it.
Hey, Griffey Knoll, again, Tom floating out Saban is equivalent to the tracking of Bob Stoops tequila bottle colors. Did you hear the preface? Did you hear?
It was a joke.
Yeah, man.
It's a joke.
God,
none of us think we're getting Saban.
I'm Gus at a press conference now.
Yeah, just
you don't get it.
Shoot
your shot.
It happens all
Mario
the time.
said Jennifer Garner. I like how Mario and I have similar tastes. Jennifer Garner, Claire Forlani. Mario understands.
Well, Selma's better. What, are you kidding? Selma's so much better looking than Jennifer Garner. This is not a contest.
Claire
This
Forlani,
is not even a conversation.
Claire Forlani is Elizabeth Hurley. I'm sure he's an Elizabeth Hurley fan, and he should be.
Well, she's beautiful.
And she is aged just as well as Selma Hayek has.
Stop with your blasphemy.
That is not blasphemy.
It's crazy
Take
blasphemy.
a look at Liz Hurley lately.
You take a look at Selma Hayek. You take a look at that. I mean, that is unbelievable on the boat.
Take a gander at Liz Hurley. I thought for sure
it's not close
that she would have no chance to age the way that she has aged. Unbelievable.
It not unbelievable in the same realm as Selma. It's Selma is criminal. Anyhow. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Make this summer a Swain summer. Choose Swain Pools and Spas for all your regular monthly or weekly scheduled pool maintenance, repairs, restoration, and renovation. Swain Pools and Spas is Tallahassee's pool everything store. Whether it's a deep clean, a resurfacing, or a full refresh, Swain's team will have you swimming, not skimming, in no time. Make a splash this summer and have a Swain summer. Find out all the ways Swain Pools and Spas can upgrade and maintain your backyard. Online at swainpools.com. That's swainpools.com.
The next 3 free flow Azure spas will be available half price. First come, first served.
Swain Pools and Spas. And right next to Swain Pools and Spas is Tallahassee Car Care, the only repair shop where you can take a dip while we repair your whip. Tallahassee Car Care, right next to Swain Pools and Spas.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Hi, Chris Kraft for the Kraft Brothers Auto Dealerships. This Halloween season, guess who will be truly frightened? People that sell Toyotas and Hondas, that's who. They are scared to death of Nissan's 2026 lineup. The reports are in. J.D. Power published their 2025 report, and Nissan was #1 in new vehicle quality among all mainstream brands. Let me say that again. Nissan, not Toyota, was #1 in new vehicle quality among all mainstream brands. Nissan Murano was tops for reliability in the midsize SUV category. Nissan Kicks takes the top spot in the small SUV category. In the quality and reliability ratings, both Nissan Sentra and Altima lead the pack. And this will scare them even more. Buy any 2025 Nissan Rogue, Murano, or Pathfinder and get 0% interest for 60 months and up to $5,000 in customer cash back. So you see, in the midst of Halloween season, just like the rest of the year, Tallahassee is not a scary town. It's a Nissan town. Kraft Nissan, Tallahassee.
Hey, are you ready to raise your glass? Because on Saturday, October 25th, the Thomasville Brew Fest is back, bigger and better than ever. General admission to the beer garden opens at 1 with the fun flowing till 5. 1 in early? Then snag a VIP ticket for exclusive early access to unlimited tastings. And don't miss the Vendor Village starting at 11. Open to everyone, no ticket required for that. This year, enjoy even more breweries than last year. Live music, food trucks, and shopping with local small businesses. VIP ticket holders get the ultimate experience. Early tastings, swag bags packed with goodies, and catered food from local favorites. Tickets are now on sale at Eventbrite. Just search Thomasville Brewfest. And don't forget, use the code RADIO at checkout to save. Thomasville Brewfest. Sip, savor, and celebrate local flavor.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. Ever try to buy a car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger and some blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car. It's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay. Things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Caramel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Matt, we disagree. First of all, there's no clickbait to this show. I never operate that way. I'm not sitting around just fielding phone calls and letting rednecks yell at each other about nonsense. We're talking about a situation in which you have to do the benefit analysis as to whether you keep a coach who can't win ACC games around, or you move on, and what it costs you to do or not do it. That's a very sensible and logical conversation. It's not in any way salacious. He's lost 8 straight ACC games. 2 of them are at home. 9 of 10. I mean, we're in a position now where it's disastrous, and the money people over the weekend were obviously infuriated by what they saw. And also, Florida State's not broke. And this is one of those things that you can buy out over a long period of time. We talk about, yeah, that's right, Swiss Irish. It could be a sunken cost. So, again, I think it's a logical conversation to have. You can disagree with me. That's fine. But Florida State is in no way in a position where they just are forced for the next 2 to 3 years to wear ass kickings because they can't afford to fire the coach. That's not their reality. That's not the program's reality. Now, again, this is a hell of an undertaking. And it is not for the faint of heart. It's also not ideal. I really wish we weren't in this position. I really wish this wasn't the case. I really wish that Mike had succeeded or would succeed. I'm still hoping. I mean, it's waning, and there's a faint, distant memory of a time where I thought it could work. But yes, I am certainly hoping. It would be great. What if Florida State wins out and we're all good to go and we don't have to make any changes? That'd be fine. That'd be great. But I'm also a realist. I'm pragmatic. I don't think that's reality. I think we've seen what's going on here. And it doesn't seem likely that that's going to be the case, that Florida State's going to rebound from these 3 straight losses, yet again, another 3-game losing streak under Mike. It just keeps happening. So, in that case, you got to start seriously considering the future.
Not even sure what would be clickbaity about the stuff we've talked today.
No, there's nothing. He might be drinking. I don't know.
Could be. You're not saying, well, according to inside boosters I've talked to, guess who they've got on the line? No. And guys, it's a big name. I can't tell you yet, but when you hear it,
that would be
know.
clickbait. That would be clickbait.
It's a little bit of a difference there.
Very big difference. No, it's Florida State is not in a situation where you say they are hamstrung, and then it is an impossibility to do anything about their current set of circumstances. That's just not the spot they find themselves in. It's less than ideal. And it isn't something that you don't take very, very seriously. You're not willy-nilly, off the cuff, just deciding, I'm angry, we're going to fire Mike Norvell. No, you're looking logically at the situation here, and you're saying, this is not going to get it done. This is incredibly frustrating. This is well below the standard. It is, by definition, substandard. You are losing all of your ACC games on the regular. What are you chuckling about? That the rumor is out there that you've started it?
No, yeah, right. If it happens, I'll take credit for it. No. I'm just laughing at everybody who's really gotten all in on Selma Hayek in the chat. I think that might be the number one word today is fire, and the second word that is most frequent is Selma, or some variation of Selma's spelling. Yes.
Well, like I told you,
somebody just said I would commit to Selma.
Oh, man. Tell you what, let's go above and beyond right now. Let's do it up with our partners and friends at Above and Beyond, aboveandbeyondvr.com. That is aboveandbeyondvr.com.
Above and beyond. Above and beyond. Above and beyond.
Above
and beyond.
727-253-5995, the phone number. But just go to that website, man. Take a look at those properties. There are 30 of them, 18 of which have a pool. And, man, a lot of them are either right on the beach or near it, depending on what you're looking to do any given weekend. Aboveandbeyondvr.com, and use the code JCS and save you all kinds of money. By the way, Tom's scrolling through some of the properties there now and saying, look, man, it's never too early, and it's definitely not too early. We're already, what is today, October what?
So the 13th.
How is it October 13th? I don't believe you. That is amazing. So we're midway through October, and you're thinking about, what am I going to do for Thanksgiving?
Yep, Thanksgiving weekend. If you're not going to the game, if you're not going to watch Florida and Florida State play, then you can watch from the beach. Have a place steps from the beach. The prices are outstanding. Looking at a 2-bedroom unit right now for under $1,100. Sorry, under $1,150 for 3 nights. $1,150 total. 3 nights, 2 bedrooms.
3 nights. You got another couple with you, let's say.
Steps from the water on Clearwater Beach. It's right
I'm
next to the water.
I'm looking at it, Tom. Looking at it. You're just walking out of those beautiful beaches. Aboveandbeyondvr.com. Who you going with? I'll tell you who I'm going with. I'm not talking about going to Clearwater Beach. I'm talking about who is your above and beyond player.
If you get mine, I'm going to be very impressed. But I got a good one.
Oh, I don't think I'll get yours because I'm going to go. Well, I'm torn on this one. Can I go an entire team?
Tell me. You go. Who is it? Go for it. You can do whatever you want.
Well, I think I'm going to go with Mr. Miller from the Seattle Mariners, who, after pitching in a 15-inning, unreal closeout game against Detroit, meaning Seattle has to turn right around and play the Blue Jays on the road in the first game of the ALCS. And he goes 6, gives up 2 hits, 1 earned run. It was the first batter of the game, and then nothing. Shuts it down the rest of the way, and the Mariners and Cal Raleigh, who hits a home run, because of course he did, went above and beyond to get him the win.
Nice.
You like that?
Did you stay up for all 15 innings on
Yes.
Friday?
Oh, buddy.
I had to cap it at 11.
I couldn't believe it. It was incredible. My dad and I stayed up, and we were falling asleep.
Yeah.
I go, hey,
Right.
let's get it together.
The noon kick. Indigo was like in 10 minutes after that game was over.
So Leon wins 35-6 on Friday night, and we get home, and you're kind of relaxing, and I crack a beer in celebration of their win and to watch a little bit of football. And I had South Florida, who dropped 63 on that ass and felt good about that. And I'm watching that, and then I'm got that baseball game on, and it's coming down to the end, and that crowd was incredible, and both teams had so many chances. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Yeah, I was like, I've committed. I'm in the 10th, 11th, 12th. I'm like, I can't go to bed. I got to watch the end of this. So we did.
My above and beyond is also a team-ish function here. I got to give it to the New York Jets. A fantastic product we sent over there to London.
13-11?
Yes. Congratulations to the New York Jets for finishing the game with -10 pass yards as a team. -10. Justin Fields had 45 yards passing, but was sacked 9 times in this football game for 55 yards, which means that the team total for passing yards in a football game would have been better if they never passed the football in the entire game. -10 yards. That is a stat that is so far above and beyond Jets football for the last 20 years.
Well done.
They keep setting new standards for themselves.
It's a tough one. People are getting fired left and right. Speaking of which, the Titans fired their coach today.
They did.
Jeez.
Cam Ward's already gotten one coach fired.
Brian Callahan is out of here. 6 games into his 2nd season, they fired his ass. Whew. People have no time for nonsense. You can't be out here sucking to this extent without repercussions. But for a lot of these guys, Franklin included, you know my old motto, it is an incredible kiss my ass on Main Street moment because they are walking with millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. And this is what we face if we do the same to Mike Norvell. The reality that my man is told to have a good day and parts with a gift that is somewhere near $60 million. Let that be a lesson to you. Stop negotiating contracts that are absurd in the era where the coaches, they matter, not the way they once did. You can get recruits without a big-name head coach. Got to pay for it, but you can do it. And then they become big-name coaches because they win with said players you paid for, as opposed to the way it used to be, as Ira pointed out last hour, when you had a Bobby Bowden or you had a huge name like a Steve Spurrier and a few other characters of the game that guaranteed you would stockpile talent year over year. That's not the way it's done anymore. So stop paying coaches like they're the recruiting draw. We'll see.
It's getting more and more like the NFL. That's why I wonder if hiring and empowering a GM is not the right way to do this thing. But you'd have to be setting your own. I mean, technically Stanford has done it first.
Oh, they did, yes.
But you'd have to be in the Southeast the first of your kind to adopt that method and bring it to this level of football.
Well, you'd have to be willing to give him an awful lot of power. So you better make that hire a good one because he's going to make changes immediately.
It's not a general manager who serves the coach, which is what we have right now. And that's fine. That's what most programs in America are doing.
Yeah.
You would have a GM who is legitimately, much like in the National Football League, above the level of the head coach, above and beyond what the coach has.
Above and beyond VR.com. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Changes could be coming to that Florida State and against the 4 suspects accused in his shooting continues to unfold in Gadsden County. This is Rachel Linnea with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Tallahassee weather report.
From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ryan Gold. A very comfortable and sunny lunch hour for us today. Temperatures will be in the low 80s and upper 70s. By the time we head home from work today, we will still be very comfortable with temperatures remaining in the low 80s. From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ryan Gold.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Football season is here, Tallahassee. Are you ready for backyard watch parties, burgers on the grill, and game day glory? Wait, now with those leaves piled up like a linebacker blocking the end zone. Call the Lawn John. We'll tackle those falling leaves, clean up your yard, and lay down fresh pine straw or mulch so your lawn looks like a championship field. Don't fumble your fall cleanup. Call the Lawn Johns today, and let's score you the best-looking yard on the block. The Lawn Johns. Your lawn, our game.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Catching up on the contributions in the chats. Already did Never Lose Your Nerd. Already did Frankie. Let's get to AD. Congratulations being a new member. Kiss OD says, have the black guys been addressed yet? Well, we talked about it, but nobody, I don't think there's been an official question of how'd you get a black eye. Colby says Brocktober. Tommy did play good, though. No, he didn't. Let's see here. Tom Watson. Hey, Tom Watson. America's great golfer, one of the all-time best listening to the program. Tom, the kind of money you have, I appreciate the contribution, but as like an 11-time major winner, you could throw more than $10 my way.
I believe this is the grandfather of the speed climbing Olympian.
I think it is too. I'm just kidding. Recruiting. Even if we win out, 19 or 20 of our current starters are not playing next year due to expiring eligibility. Portal, maybe 1 or 2 in the NFL draft. Yeah. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, recruiting. Sandman. It's about coaching and development. Jimbo had the greatest recruiting class in history, and nothing came of it except a $76 million buyout. Texas A&M. Yeah, culture was rot really quickly there, as we saw. Nick writes, I'm losing it. Thought we'd win, but meeting you, Jeff, before the Pitt game was great. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that, buddy. And what do we got here? Brent Key, Jeff Brom, Glenn Schluman, Brian Hartline. Well, Key's not leaving Georgia Tech, I don't believe. It's his alma mater. Brom, same thing at Louisville. So I don't know that those guys want to. Main burner, which makes me laugh. No one can stay if Mike gets canned. Clean slate, agreed. Tony, here is my cheapest solution. Maybe TW head coach and make him keep Gus to run the offense. You might be able to save the 26 class, keep your roster, and get the right portal players on defense. No guarantees, but nothing is. Yeah, boy, I don't know how well that would go over, Tony, right now with what's happening. I think Tony White is up against it from a personnel standpoint, but they haven't exactly been good either.
Think Gus would work for Tony White?
Yeah, I doubt it. Although maybe if he really doesn't want to be a head coach again, he might.
Right. That would put it to the test, right?
I also don't like our offense. I wouldn't keep this around. Roof One Restoration writes, part of the vial is that this is the second year we've been catfished by expectations combined with poor recruiting classes and the fact that I saw someone post we've kept only 27 of the 78 players we've signed since 2021. Oh, there are some numbers to go back and take a gander at from a recruiting standpoint, whether it's the blue chippers that you've lost, never developed, or have transferred out, or it is the overall level of recruiting incompetence, you name it. And Brian, congratulations on being a new member as well. We appreciate you greatly. So I think we got everybody there. I did, Frankie. It did the
up to date. Yep.
Yeah, we're up to date. We're good. Appreciate everybody greatly for listening and for contributing. And we'll see what the rumors begin and how soon do they happen. I said it at the start of the show. I'll reiterate here. It's one thing for a sports talk show host like myself, for me and Tom, to have this conversation on the airwaves. Not saying it doesn't, create the conversation or a larger conversation amongst a lot of people, but the real money folks, the folks that make the change, the ones that decide they've had enough and make the call and pull the dollars are the ones that are now on the clock. And I don't say that threateningly. I mean, they're the ones who have to decide whether some clandestine meeting will work. They fly into Atlanta, they fly into Tampa, and they all sit down and compare and contrast notes about what they want to do or what it is. But, again, your Jim Owens, your Brian Murphys, your Mike Carrolls, your Langford families, your Peter Collins, obviously McCullough is the president, Alan Flamenhoff, all these guys, anybody that has contributed to the point where you walk around the facilities and you see their name on a locker room or on an overhang or as you entry into a hallway and you say, it's a lot of similar names. Yeah, those are the people that make the decisions.
I feel like that decision has to be made the next 4 weeks. That's just me speaking, speculating, but you look at the calendar for recruiting, signing day, the portal, all of those things. I think you need to announce we're either running it back or we are moving on within that month in order to give either Mike Norvell or the next person the best chance to have yeses and signatures in the early signing period. Now, you can always push some of those decisions down the line to February, but a lot of kids would just rather sign with their second choice or the 50-50 choice that's the other school in that early signing period between the Florida game and the ACC championship. But while it's great that the transfer portal is pushed into January and it's not all loaded up in December, that's nice. Signing day matters. And I think we're here in large part all talking about we need high school recruiting to be better. This can't be a lost class. As much as you possibly can salvage this class, it can't be lost. So in order to make the proper decisions, it's October 13th. By November 13th or 15th, you're going to have a clear vision of who it is they're signing for in December. So you've got to compress time here.
What are you going to do, though, Tom? What if one of the coaches you want to hire has got his team in playoff contention? How are you making that announcement? They're not going to want that.
I wonder if that disqualifies that particular coach from being a candidate.
Why would you limit your choices to somebody who's not, like, the best candidate, let's say? Like, if you think that guy's a better candidate, you can't not do it. I think you just got to wear the kick to the cojones.
You got to wear a lost recruiting class.
Yeah. Well, we lose him every year. Yeah. I mean, he fails every year at this.
Then you got to do the heavy lifting in the portal one more time, and here we go again in January. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, but just this one time, Tom, for the new guy, just this one time. Cue up the probables. I'll get to it very, very quickly. We actually have 2 games. Let's fire it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
How about that? 2 games today, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, to go with a doubleheader in the NFL to boot. The sports bonanza continues. It never ends. Seattle will throw Logan Gilbert trying to take a 2-0 series lead on Toronto and get to their first ever World Series, or at least a step closer. Trey Yasovich goes for Toronto, whoever the hell that is. Dodgers are going to throw Blake Snell. We know who he is. He's been fantastic in the postseason. Milwaukee will throw Aaron Ashby, and that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Keep that music running, Tommy, as I let everybody know. Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing wants you desperately to have a clean set of gutters, and they'll do it for free. Stop screwing around. Give them a call today. That is Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing. If you call and say, hey, I heard Cameron talking about this on 93.3 FM, he says that you guys are going to come out, no obligation, no cost, no surprises, just a free gutter cleaning. Is that so? They'll say it is so. Give me your address. We'll be there tomorrow at 6. I don't know what they'll say, but they're going to say something akin to that. And they're going to clean your gutters for you for free. Forget about it. It's free. Call Gutter Solutions anytime in the month of October for those free gutter cleanings. Free. Such a fun song. Just so happy.
I'd like to be sitting in the room when they recorded this.
Me too.
The name of the band is Ease Jammy Jams.
Get it. That was fun, everybody. We had a good time. I hate that this is the subject of the conversation, that it's going to seriously permeate our airwaves for the coming months, but it is. It's reality. Can't run from it. Not deflecting it.
We've had a lot of these discussions
Too
over
many.
the 13 years we've been doing this.
Too many, buddy. Damn it, man. But here we are. Be good. Have a lovely evening. We will talk to you tomorrow. Seminole Headlines and the bonus hour for tomorrow. Be good, everybody. Peace.